and bright Circuit de Nevers Magny Cours. And it's a circuit that, of course, has hosted formerly the French Grand Prix from 1991 all the way through to 2008. It's also been the site of many different endurance championships and races. We've seen, World Touring Cars race here, FIA GTs race here in the past, and of course we've had Funcup races here in real life too. But of course, this is where the drivers both across the pond in both the UK and in Europe get the chance to show their skills in the mix this evening. It is round 3 of the championship, and we'll hopefully get a chance to see some brilliant racing in a slightly different format that you've been accustomed to from the first 2 rounds at Assen and Dijon. My name's Scott Woodward. I'll be covering the English portion of the commentary for tonight, and in the commentary box, as usual for these races, is the very capable Guillaume Alvarez. And Guillaume, I'll allow you to give an intro to our French-speaking viewers who are watching online tonight. Good evening, Guillaume.
Good evening, Scott. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Chers amis, bonsoir à toutes et tous, chers amis de la Funcup, et soyez les bienvenus, comme Scott vient de vous le dire précédemment, sur le magnifique circuit de Nevers Magny Cours, version virtuelle évidemment, sur le jeu Assetto Corsa. Nous sommes au 3e round déjà de la Virtual European Series de la Funcup. Ce rendez-vous mis sur pied par Riley Phillips, le pilote britannique bien connu de la Funcup britannique. Et bien nous sommes déjà à la 3e épreuve de ce très très beau championnat qui s'étalera jusqu'au mois d'octobre avec 11 courses au total. Nous avions commencé sur le très rapide circuit du TT Assen. Nous avions ensuite pris la direction du magnifique circuit de Dijon-Prenois et de son dénivelé et de ses superbes virages à long rayon. Et bien nous voici dans la vallée de la Nièvre, sur le circuit de Nevers Magny Cours, qui nous réserve bien des surprises, ce superbe tracé, comme vous l'a dit Scott, ancienne pension, ancienne escale du championnat du monde de Formule 1 de 1991 à 2008. Et nous venons de prendre les devants. Nous sommes ici en direct depuis quelques instants que la séance qualificative vient de débuter. On prend les mêmes et on recommence quasiment, puisque nous avons 17 engagés, 17 voitures en piste pour cette épreuve de ce soir, avec 50 minutes, un peu moins désormais, de séance qualificative pour déterminer l'ordre de la grille de départ. Et puis nous aurons non pas une course d'1 heure, donc on passe d'un mode endurance à un mode davantage sprint, puisque nous auront 2 épreuves, course 1 et course 2 de 30 minutes chacune. Dès la deuxième se verra démarrer avec une grille en mode renversé pour les 8 premiers, c'est-à-dire que le vainqueur de la course 1 partira de la 8e position sur la grille de départ pour la course 2 et devra batailler pour remonter peut-être jusqu'au podium, ce qui nous promet beaucoup de plaisir et pas mal, en tout cas, d'action en piste. C'est toujours un plaisir évidemment de vous retrouver ici nombreux et nombreux en direct sur Twitch et en direct sur YouTube, Riley Motorsport. Et nous sommes prêts en tout cas pour suivre avec Scott Woodward et moi-même Guillaume Alvarez ce qui va se passer sur le circuit de Nevers Magny Cours, la qualification, la pole position en jeu et puis 2 courses de 30 minutes. Thank you, Scott.
No problem, thank you, Guillaume. So we are into our qualifying session here, where we'll see the drivers simply go out to pretty much set the fastest time as possible. At the moment, it is former Funcup UK champion Chris Hart who has the fastest time. He set the initial benchmark of 2 minutes 4.725. We should look at some of the drivers in the mix who are also going to be in contention. Jay Shepherd has just set his first sort of flying lap, although he should be going a little bit quicker because we have seen drivers setting 2 minute 2 and 2 minute 3 lap times as some of the fastest on the server in practice just now. Piers Stockton's back in the field as well, and that pretty much makes up the UK contingent. The rest are all drivers who are from across the continent in France. We've got Axel Soyez, who I did see having 1 or 2 spins towards the end of practice, so hopefully you can keep things facing the right way for the majority of the session. We've got the Lacquiers siblings. We've got Louis and Antoine, and they've got a couple more black-coloured cars in the field as well. They've got Mervan Hadjuj, and just behind them on track they should also have Robin Donat. So there's 4 black cars in the mix, but they all have different colour-coded rear wings and wing mirrors to differentiate who they are. So in order to give you a guide, if you've got a pen and paper handy, we'll review it throughout the evening. So Louis Lacquiers, who's just gone fastest on his first flying lap with a 2 minutes 3.073, he has got the yellow wing mirrors and rear wing. Then it's Hadjuj, has the red wing mirrors and rear wing. It's likewise blue for Antoine Lacquiers, and Robin Donat has the green wing mirrors and rear wings. So that's how you can differentiate each of the 4 cars. The fastest of our British drivers is Chris Hart in 5th position. Max Leonard is 6th in his very unique sort of almost camouflage livery in 6th position. Eric Céline in 7th place is in the Beta livery car, 7th fastest. Axel Soyez is 8th. And then Jay Shepherd currently 9th fastest. So again, let's bring you in here for this qualifying session. It looks as though that the quartet of black cars that we have in the field seem to be the initial pace setters, but Magny Cours is very much a circuit where momentum is absolutely key when you've got lots of very long, fast corners and some very big braking zones, particularly down at the Adelaide hairpin. So I would imagine that in some cases, maybe as it's a slightly different format, these guys might not play the long game here and possibly try and wait it out for the entire hour. This is 2 half-an-hour races we've got going on here for sprint races. So I imagine these guys, for them, grid position is going to be crucial, because with a shorter race, be able to stay at the front for the entire half an hour is not going to be as simple as just trying to keep pace with everyone else. It's going to be a much trickier task for them, considering that everyone else is going to be even more desperate to get in front and potentially go for the win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Scott. As you said, a tricky track that is in Magny Cours, up to 17 corners, as we have a car that was down in the grass over there and just disappeared back in the pit lane. So nothing to worry about for this driver, hopefully. But 17 corners that we have here in Magny Cours through more than 4 kilometers. And what's really impressive about this track, that something that you don't get to see very much on the screen, is how bumpy and hilly actually this track is. And as you said, down in the first corner, La Grande Courbe, down to Estoril, as we said, at this particular corner, you really go down the hill at full speed almost, right into the right-hander, which is really impressive. Then going up again and going up again in the straight line to the hairpin of Adelaide. So this is really, really impressive once you're on location, if you get a chance to go there or to race there, as this is the case for some of those drivers that have been competing, that have competed in the past on this track. This is very, very bumpy and very narrow as well. So there's not much of runoff areas around the track, which makes it even more difficult, as you said, for the drivers, considering the sprint race that we're going to be into in the next couple of minutes. Qualifying will be a key element of success, that's for sure. And at the moment, the Lacquier brothers seems to be on good form on the Magny Cours track. 2.5 as the time reference at the moment. To give you a bit of an idea, I just had a look at previous qualifying times from last year, because in 2019, the European Funcup was here in Magny Cours in real life. They made a return on the track for the Magny Cours Cup, and the pole position was actually done in 2.03.9, so almost 2.4. So we less than that. So it goes much faster on the simulator in the virtual version. So this is to give you, of course, a bit of an idea about the average time that we should expect. The 2.2 is already a very, very fast time reference.
Yeah, it's certainly showing the way in terms of who has got the ultimate pace here. And the Lacquiers, siblings of Louis and Antoine, are the ones that are leading the way. There's only around about 0.2 of a second that separates them in the gap in terms of their space between themselves for pole position. And Louis goes across the line with Antoine just behind. We're on board with Louis, and he's going through Grande Courbe, and then this corner Estoril. I was watching a few drivers going through here, and you really have to just adjust your throttle very much through here. I'm just watching on his throttle feed. First half of the corner is pretty much lifting off completely to allow the front end of the car to turn in, but then as you kind of got the amount of grip that you want, you start to really apply the throttle back on as you stretch your legs onto the back straight. You go through with a very quick kink of Golf, then you head down to one of the basically very prime overtaking spots on this circuit. The Adelaide hairpin has been the scene of so many mega memories across motorsport in France throughout the years, whether it be Formula One or GTs or so much more. So that's going to be a really key place to spot. And I imagine that will be a prime area of activity, Guillaume, in particular because, of course, it is such a big stop for such a fast section of the circuit. You're travelling at something like 110, 120 miles an hour at full speed. And so it's going to be a real braking duel down there to see who really can be last of the late breakers to make the move stick, because it's going to be very tricky, particularly when you're in the heat of battle, for someone to... It's very easy to snatch a break or to miss your braking point or dive into the corner a little bit later because you're trying to beat the guy that you're trying to take the position from.
Yeah, definitely. And the Adelaide Open is certainly one of the key points of the track that everybody needs to focus on and keep an eye on, especially in the first laps of each race. Because, as you said, once you get down to the braking zone, inside the full pack, and with everybody try to find the fastest line around you, this can be really a really tricky corner, a really tricky part of the race. You can either lose everything or gain a lot of advantage by positioning your car better than the other, and really try to make an efficient maneuver over there as well. But I wouldn't be surprised, as you can see, a bit of a contact over there, but just before the chicane. And which driver is that? Is it Louis Laquiez who actually went out? I think a bit of a contact over there, but nothing to worry, hopefully, for Louis. Still the fastest as we speak. Was it Louis or someone else? This is 290. I couldn't see the number properly.
Yeah, it was Louis Laquiez. I spotted
Yeah,
it.
right.
I think it was Jay Shepherd that was rejoining onto the track after a small excursion. Jay at the moment down 13th fastest right now. They're possibly struggling a bit on this Magny Cours circuit. But as he rejoined, it was Louis that was coming around to finish the current lap he was on. And unfortunately, the two of them came together. And usually when two Funcup cars meet in place, it's not usually a nice thing, particularly in real life. But Louis got sort of ejected into the gravel trap briefly before he managed to climb his way back out. But as you say, still on pole position provisionally, 2 minutes 2.535. We did see an improvement just recently from Piers Stockton in third quickest in his bright blue car. Just spotted Chris Hart's cars in the gravel trap just before the 180 hairpin as well. So that car is he's possibly just trying to escape himself back to the pits as best as he can. So we've got about 36, roughly just over 35 minutes left to go in the session. So we're still looking at Louis Laquiez. You can see Chris Hart's car in the background there, just in the left-hand side. That's the former, I think he was 2018 Funcup champions. Him and Chris Hart and Henry Dawes. And that's a brand new livery that they're going to run this year for 2020. So Louis Laquiez fastest on a 2 minutes 2.535 we're watching on screen here. And he is coming up to Jay Shepherd. So these two have already tangled once tonight. Let's see if he can negotiate him on track here a little bit easier. And Jay just running a little wide and kicking up the dust as he hits the brakes and turns into the Chateau D'eau corner. And this time he just about manages to get through that. I thought we were going to make contact again, but he manages to slot in behind. And the next car, which is going to come up to now, looks to be who's that? He's going to come up to on track here. Just going to find him on the track. That's going to be Christoph Schinkel in 11th quickest at the moment. But so far, it seems as though it's a relatively clean qualifying session with everyone trying to pick up the best time possible, including very tight at the moment, battling between roughly third place down to about sixth.
Yeah, and we've just seen one of the drivers, I think it was Jay Shepherd indeed, who went a bit wide in the entry and the exit of the chicane. The last chicane before the straight line for start and finish will be another tricky sector of the track to keep an eye on, because this is where the track limits might actually play out and make a difference if the drivers tend to go around the outside of the track a bit too much. So something to consider. And the chicane, even though the straight line just after the corner that we have just before the corner number 15, the corner of the Lycée Pain, this is a too short straight line, of course, to expect making a move in the chicane, although nothing entirely impossible. But as we were discussing about potential overtaking spots on the track, Scott, it's fair to say that this corner number 15 down the hill on the back straight line is certainly a spot to keep an eye on as well. And I remember last year when I was lucky enough to be in Magny Cours to commentate on the Magny Cours Cups in 2019, and we've seen some tremendous maneuvers in that particular corner, and even some contact and heavy contact over there between drivers. So that might well once again happen here. We'll see. But this corner number 15, just before the chicane, is one of those spots that drivers might want to try to make the move in, especially as well as the Adelaide hairpin or the 180. These are the corners really to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's going to be crucial is the fact you have got such a prime overtaking spot like heading into the Lycée complex. I think what's going to be crucial is that you've got that right towards the end of the lap. And so when you've got the last couple of laps, when you've got drivers battling for position, one of the key things is going to be is if there's two cars battling for a place, who's going to be bravest to make a dive up the inside, and is the car in front going to want to throw the block and prevent that from happening? So that is going to be quite crucial when it comes to holding on to the position. We're coming up now towards half an hour left in the session. So I think whilst we're waiting for a few more times to come in, as Max Leonardo's spot has gone up to third fastest, and he's one of only 4 drivers that have gone sub 2 minutes 3 in their times. It's Louis Laquiez from Antoine Laquiez, and then Max Leonardo and Pierre Stockton. I think it might be a good time for you, Guillaume, to give us our first qualifying update in French. So if you'd like to proceed with that, please do, as we go through the qualifying session with just over half an hour to go.
Absolutely, thank you Scott. Voilà chers amis, il y a un peu plus d'une demi-heure encore dans cette séance qualificative de 50 minutes au total avant de lâcher les fauves pour ce qui sera 2 épreuves de 30 minutes. On passe donc d'un mode endurance qui était le cas lors des 2 premières manches de Assen et de Dijon. C'était 1 heure de course au total. Désormais, eh bien, ce temps se voit coupé en 2, 30 minutes, course 1, course 2, 5 petites minutes de pause entre les deux, alors que nous avons ici Maxime Liénard qui va brouter quelque peu le gazon. Sans doute, il va problème technique pour Maxime Liénard qui va rentrer au box d'ici quelques instants. Maxime Liénard, pour l'instant, 2e dans la hiérarchie. Voilà dans la pit lane du circuit Never Manico. Maxime Liénard au volant de l'une des 2 machines engagé sous la livrée Flower Power, Maxime Liénard, la numéro 50. Vous avez remarqué sans doute que Hugo de Wilde sera bien sûr de la partie, le jeune pilote belge parmi les favoris évidemment à sa propre succession. Et j'ai justement, au moment où je vous en parle, eh bien, je reçois le message de la part de Andrew Phillips, le père de Riley Phillips, qui s'active évidemment dans la coulisse pour rendre ce championnat possible. Eh bien, il me fait savoir que Hugo de Wilde souffre de problèmes techniques avec son serveur apparemment, et que tout est fait en œuvre également grâce à Riley Phillips qui s'active dans la coulisse pour que Hugo de Wilde puisse prendre part à cette qualification. Donc voilà, nouvelle de dernière minute, Hugo souffre semble-t-il de quelques problèmes de serveur et peine à nous rejoindre. On espère que ce ne sera que passager et qu'on pourra compter sur sa présence pour, pourquoi pas, se battre pour une 3e victoire de lui qui nous avait vraiment ébloui par sa constance et sa vitesse lors des 2 premières manches. Et vraiment épatant d'aisance, le jeune Hugo de Wilde, notre représentant belge noir-jaune dans le cadre de la Formule Renault Eurocup 2020 devrait constituer sa 2e saison dans cette compétition de monoplace hautement réputée. En attendant d'avoir, on l'espère, Hugo de Wilde en piste pour l'instant, c'est bien un petit français, Louis Laquier, qui est en tête de la hiérarchie pour l'instant, 2 minutes 2 et 4 dixièmes. Ils sont 2, les Laquier, Louis et Antoine Laquiez, qui nous font plaisir d'être à nouveau là, comme c'était le cas lors de la précédente épreuve de Dijon, avec un team qu'il va falloir tout à fait surveiller, c'est le No Limit Racing. No Limit Racing qui est engagé, comme à Dijon, quelques voitures, je crois qu'elles sont au nombre de 4 à s'aligner pour cette 3e épreuve du championnat européen de Funcup virtuel, alors qu'on suit les péripéties des uns des autres dans cette séance qualificative pour l'instant. Louis Laquiez, 2 minutes 2, c'est le temps référence à battre juste devant Maxime Liénard, alors que nous sommes à bord de Pierce Stockton, l'un des pilotes britanniques les plus en vue depuis l'entame des hostilités sur le circuit. De 2e position provisoire de la hiérarchie, avec 2 dixièmes de retard. Maxime Liénard quitte pour l'instant de la pit lane, alors que nous avons Pierce Stockton qui double Pierre-André Guillaume, le pilote de cette superbe français pirate. Fait doubler là-bas au freinage de l'épingle d'Adelaide. Donc Maxime Liénard en 2e position devant Antoine Laquiez, 3e place provisoire. Pierre Stockton que nous avons pour l'instant en 4e position provisoire de les jeunes pilotes du No Limit Racing, Merwan Adjouj pour l'instant qui s'est octroyé la 5e meilleure performance avec 8 dixièmes de retard sur le Laquiez, son équipier No Limit Racing. Puis nous avons Axel Soyer en 6e position, Chris Hunt, le pilote britannique, 7e pour l'instant, devant en 8e position. C'est une nouvelle tête du No Limit Racing depuis 2 épreuves. Il avait terminé 18e à Dijon. Il s'agit de Robin Donat qui pour l'instant occupe la 8e place provisoire dans la hiérarchie devant Xavier Well. Et puis nous avons Eric Schelling qui fait le top 10. Top 10, il reste encore un peu moins d'une demi-heure afin de faire bouger les quilles de cette classification. On le rappelle que le poleman s'élancera en tête, c'est logique, sur la grille de départ de la course 1 et que le vainqueur de cette première épreuve, eh bien, c'est en 8e position, puisque la course 2 eh bien, se disputera sur le principe de la grille inversée. Thank you, Scott.
No problem. Thank you, Guillaume. And looking at the session, I noticed that just as you jumped into the French update, I did notice that Max Leonard had popped up into second fastest. So Max has now gone into a 2 minutes 2.682. And as I'm sure Guillaume would have briefly alluded to, our championship leader, Hugo de Valde, is having one or two issues getting himself into the qualifying session, sadly. So hopefully you will be able to get in before the session ends with less than half an hour to go. So Louis Lacquier still fastest, with Max Leonard at the moment provisionally on the front row alongside him. Antoine Lacquier is third fastest from Piers Stockton. There's Mervan Hadjuj in fifth position. Axel Soyez sixth quickest from Chris Hart, and then Robin Donat, and then Xavier Weil, and then Eric Céline, Mathis Besson, and Christophe Schinkel, and Pierre-André Guillaume and Jay Shepherd are the last two cars that qualified so far, but we are still waiting, hopefully, to get the likes of Hugo de Valde into the server. We should talk about the championship, actually, because we've had 2 rounds at Assen and at Dijon. So Hugo de Valde leads the way on 70 points compared to Max Leonard with 65. Then it's Julien Chien, who sadly I don't believe is here tonight, so he might have to make up some ground in the next rounds coming up. Riley Phillips is the top British driver. He's fourth fastest at the fourth highest in the points with 58. Then it's Louis Lacquier has 6 points in fifth position. Jay Shepherd is sixth with 54. Antoine Lacquier is on 52. And then it's should then be Xavier Weil, and then David Sieg with Piers Stockton in eighth as well. So Chris Hart then making his way through Grand Corps and then through Estoril to make his way onto the long back straight to make his way down towards the Adelaide hairpin, still with just under 27 minutes to go in the session. Got a couple of cars in pit lane at the moment, Axel Soyez and Eric Céline, but we're continuing on to watch with Chris Hart. And Guillaume, how heartening has it been for you to see? Obviously, we've got the UK Championship as well, which has plenty of different drivers that compete in that. But how good is it to you to see some of the UK drivers coming across into the European Series and testing themselves against the best of the some of the Benelux and French drivers that the French Championship has to offer? Because it's quite nice to see a bit of crossover between the two, rather than some drivers sticking towards their respective series. And how good would it be for you to see some of the more regular front-running drivers in the European Championships coming across to the virtual UK one and giving that a go for a couple of rounds?
Yeah, it's very positive indeed, and we'll see more of that. Hopefully, but this is definitely positive. To see as you see those crossovers between nations and different championships, and so far the battle has been absolutely hectic between some of the best representatives competing in the French or European Funcup against the British ones, and Stockton have been some of the drivers, and Riley Phillips as well is not here with us competing today, unfortunately, but has been one of the top and fastest drivers over the course of the 2 first rounds. But this is nice to see, really, the battle between those different representatives from different series. And as we mentioned earlier, there's that big event that everybody involved in the FUT knows about, is the Spa-Francorchamps 25 hours of European Funcup, and you get to see a lot of different nationality drivers coming from all over the world, really competing in Spa, including a lot of British drivers as well. So apart from this prime event, which is really the race that everybody wants to be, I don't have a precise idea about the how many different nationalities we have on average in whether it is in France, in Belgium, or in the UK. So that'd be interesting to know or to dig a bit about that sort of information to see on average, let's say per race, how many crossovers that we have in real life. I happen to know that a team like the M3M, my good friend Jean-Luc Dubois, that might be watching us right now. M3M is the sort of team that really enjoys competing in different series. They've won over the past few seasons. They've won the French competition of Funcup. They've been the European Funcup, and they have links as well with the UK. They compete sometimes in UK races. So that's the prime example of those teams being able to compete everywhere. And we must once again thank Jean-Luc Dubois, his organization, and M3M, because they've the most represented, I think, if I'm not mistaken, for this race alone, which is more than for the previous rounds. So they keep on bringing people in, and really, really efficient drivers. So that's one thing to mention. And they've been supporting this series and the project of Riley Phillips since the beginning. So once again, we have to deeply thank them for that.
Absolutely, it's great to see so much cooperation from real world teams getting involved in the virtual series. I think another one which I'm just watching their quartet of cars in two pairs is No Limit Racing, with the two Laquier siblings of Louis and Antoine. Then of course we've got in the mix Mervan Hajouj and Robin Donat as well. So looking at how they're circulating, Louis Laquier has got a tow on. Who's that on? I think that's Donat. So Donat's giving a tow to Louis, and I think Antoine is getting a tow from Hajouj, I think. So they're just coming down into the hairpin now, and they're just following Jay Shepherd. Still 22 and a half minutes to go in this qualifying session, and it's still Louis Laquier on provisional pole position, 2 minutes 2.420. So I think that time's come down a fraction since I last saw it. And then it's Max Leonard who's breaking up the No Limit Racing party, because he is currently sat second on a 2 minute 2.682, 2 minute 2691 for Antoine Laquier, and then Pierre Stockton fourth fastest, top British driver in fourth on the grid so far. Mervan Hajouj fifth quickest, Chris Hart sixth, then Axel Soyez, Robin Donat, Xavier Weil, and then Eric Céline rounding out the top 10, followed by Besson, Shinko, Guillaume, and then Jay Shepherd, not on the same sort of pace he was showing last time, because I remember seeing at Dijon last time, he was battling actually with the two Laquier siblings for most of the race, and that was over 6th, 7th and 8th place. I think it was a small mistake from Jay that sadly sort of saw him sort of have a bit of an incident and drop him down the order, which is unfortunate. But this is a circuit possibly where if some drivers are a bit unfamiliar, it can sometimes mean that they're not quite up to speed as quickly as some other drivers might be, where some drivers who do have the experience of even racing here in real life can use that knowledge to hopefully get themselves up to speed a bit quicker if they're not familiar with how it runs in the sim.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to British drivers, the UK Championship is not really familiar over the past few years with this very track, unlike the drivers from the French and European. So yeah, that might. And but I'm sure that we might see some improvement, as we were just talking about, lapped much quicker. Jay Shepherd on this last lap is 10th in the ranking at the moment, with a bit more than 20 minutes to go. As we see him on the screen. So Jay Shepherd, 10th fastest at the moment, still 2.5 seconds away from Louis Laquier, still holding the first position. So I'm pretty sure that even though he might not be the most familiar with the track, Jay Shepherd is fast enough to know how to compete. And I would not be surprised to see him battle his way into the field and give us some good surprises and good maneuvers. As long as the track allows him to. But Jay Shepherd has been really, really impressive, as you said, in Dijon, battling with the Laquier brothers. He ended in P6, but could have been much higher, I think, at some point on the podium for Jay. But as it happens, a bit of mistake, deprived him of such a result. And it's fair to say that the level of racing has been tremendous since the beginning of the competition. We had one race, sort of rehearsal before. In this race, you could see that for the past track, which is track.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're possibly breaking up a little bit on my stream here on Discord. And just as we talk about Jay Shepherd, he promptly launches out the final chicane and ends up facing the wall. But he's still in 10th position at the moment, and that will mean he'll have some work to make his way up through the order in the pack starting in P10. He'll be starting around the likes of Eric Céline and also as well Xavier Weil. I think Xavier himself took a bit of a trip into the gravel trap as well just shortly. We're looking at Chris Hart in 6th position. As we say, 2018 Funcup champion with Henry Dawes with the Tractor 2 Rent Dominoes team, and now it is simply just 2 Rent Dominoes. And again, as we said, that is the livery that they're going to be carrying this year. It's a fantastic looking car, and it's been such great work by Andrew and Riley Phillips and everyone else involved, not just the UK side, but the virtual Funcup Europe side, to getting these liveries done, because it really is a fantastic representation of what some of these cars will look like when they get out on circuit later on this season. I do believe that Hugo de Valde is still having 1 or 2 issues with taking part in the session, so if he is able to get in, unfortunately it may be the case he'll have to charge his way through the field. I think it's time, because we had a little more time passed in the qualifying session, to hand over to Guillaume. So if you'd like to, Guillaume, I'm happy to let you run through an update for our French-speaking viewers who want an update on what's happening in qualifying, with just under 18 minutes to go here at Magny Cours.
Absolument, merci Scott. Voilà, un peu moins de 18 minutes jusqu'au drapeau d'année pour cette séance qui est toujours disputé avec des conditions optimales sur ce circuit de Nevers Magny Cours. Belle performance de la part d'un de nos représentants français du No Limit Racing. Deuxième épreuve, deuxième apparition. 3e position pour ce championnat. Louis Lacaze est occupé à 2 minutes 2 et 4 dixièmes pour l'instant, ce qui lui confère bien le chrono le plus rapide du terme de cette séance. Maxime Minard, toujours 2 dixièmes de retard. Maxime qui pilote, vous l'avez sans doute remarqué, une voiture aux couleurs et surtout au numéro similaire à la fameuse 50 Flower. La raison est simple, eh bien, une autre livrée était prévue par le team M3M, mais n'a pas pu être délivré à temps pour cette épreuve de Magny Cours. Eh bien, il a fallu, en tout cas pour ce qui est du numéro, pardon, il a fallu en rester là et donc lui donner le même numéro que Hugo de Wilde, notre représentant belge. Hugo de Wilde, donc on le disait précédemment, qui souffrait de quelques petits problèmes de serveur et qui n'a pas encore pu prendre part donc, à cette séance qualificative. On espère qu'il pourrait être de la partie, quitte à nous donner en tout cas une belle démonstration de pilotage s'il venait à partir depuis le fond de la grille, ce qui ne sera pas une sinécure, puisqu'on rappelle que les seront plus pour la course 1, 30 minutes pour la course 2 également, ce qui ne sera pas facile, mais nous promet en tout cas pas mal de très très beaux spectacles sur ce circuit de Magny Cours, on ne peut plus spectaculaire. Maxime Minard donc toujours deuxième de la hiérarchie devant Anton Lacaze. Pierce Stockton s'effrayait un chemin jusqu'en 4e position provisoire pour l'instant, toujours une demi-seconde moins rapide que Lacaze devant Adjud position. Chris Hart 6e, Axel Soyer 7e position, nous avons Robin Donna en 8e position provisoire devant Xavier Weil. Jay Shepard, le pilote britannique, quelque peu en difficulté en début de séance, est occupé à se refaire une petite santé chronométrique, qui est 10e devant Eric Chéline. Nous avons Besson, Christophe Schinkel et Pierre-André Guillaume en 14e. Christophe Schinkel que nous avons pour l'instant en position provisoire pour lui avec un chrono 3 secondes 7 moins rapide pour l'instant que la référence à 15 minutes et quelques secondes du terme. Thank you, Scott.
No problem, Guillaume. And just as you were talking about that, we have managed to discover Hugo de Valde, and rather than knock on the door to announce his presence, he's practically kicked the door down, because he's jumped straight up to second fastest on a 2-minute 2.659 on what is effectively his first flying lap, which just shows how talented he is. The former, if not current, former Ready Euro Cup racer, certainly taking to sim racing pretty well, and is the championship leader coming into this third round, having won the first 2 races. So he's just making his way out of the Adelaide hairpin and towards the Nürburgring chicane. So he'll be betting to try and go a little bit quicker on this second flying lap. But still Louis Lacaze that has the pole position, but he's currently in the pit lane at the moment, feeling fairly content with his lap time so far. So 2 minutes 2.420 is still the pole time set by Louis Lacaze, but it is now Hugo de Valde in the bright white flower livery machine with peace and love along the side and the peace sign on the rear windscreen. he is now currently second fastest. We're looking at Christoph Schinkel, who is exploring the limits of grip in the Funcup Evo 3 machine, just around the 180 hairpin. Max Leonard third fastest from Antoine Laquiez, and then Pierre Stockton, followed by Morin Hajouj, Chris Hart, Axel Soyez, Robin Donat, and Xavier Weil rounding out the top 10. And I'm just keeping an eye on Hugo de Waal making his way through the Lycée complex, and Carl was right in front of him promptly darts out of the way on the inside. As we continue to watch Schinkel, I'm just keeping an eye on de Waal. He comes across the line. Does he go to pole position? Yes, he does. And what a time to do so as well. Not only has he destroyed the time from Louis Laquier, he's jumped into the 2-minute 1. So he's gone to a 2-minute 1.974 to go pole position. And he's done that in 2 flying laps. I mean, if that's not an indicator again of just how quick he is, to do that after all the problems he's had, he has just been racing another championship just now, but to jump straight in and to set the pole position time by nearly half a second in 2 flying laps. I mean, has this boy got talent or what?
Oh, the boy certainly does have talent. Let me tell you that. And he's been showing to all of us how talented and fast he can be. And whether it was in karting, in French Formula 4, now in Formula Renault Euro Cup, and in the Funcup as well. And Hugo has been able to jump into behind the wheel of a Funcup over the past 2 seasons, competing twice, I think, in the Spa-Francorchamps 2025, and giving some very good. He came close to finishing the top 4 of the Spa 25 hours. As I was saying, and then after this hand of the race in tumultuous hand, but still, he's fast at the wheel of the Funcup, and that's what he's been demonstrating for the past 2 rounds, and even 3 races, including Spa, when he was battling for victory, ended up in 2nd place. But now, as you said, what a performance from the wheel that we have on screen right now, at the wheel of the Flower Power from the Belgian VW Club, the number 50, that's been absolutely dominating the championship since the beginning, and being number 3 for Hugo de Waal after those 2 fantastic flanks.
I think if that's an indicator of what to expect for the rest of the evening, I think the rest of the field should be quite worried. He's just coming through the final chicane to how to start and finish straight. We're on board with him on stream. You can see effectively the onboard shot of how Hugo de Waal works. He wasn't the quicker at that time, because he was a little sideways going into the 180 hairpin. He makes his way through the Concob and then through the long Estoril where you have to wait to get on the throttle. Then he starts to accelerate out as he heads onto the back straight, and this is where the speed will start to build now. He's at 150, 160 kilometers now, coming up to 100 miles per hour now, down the back straight, and now through the Gulf Kink, underneath the ING bridge, and this is where you'll see a big braking zone here. And just watching on board to see how he handles it. So he comes up towards the 2nd marker ball with about 100 meters to go, hits the brakes and turns all the way 180 degrees through the Adelaide hairpin. Now back on the throttle again, and now up towards the very high speed Nürburgring S's. So you go underneath the bridge for the 2nd time, and then you make your way through this very fast right-left section here, and then the braking is very tricky to get it right in a straight line for the 180 corner, using the runoff area on the right-hand side, some of the grasscrete, to just be able to maintain the momentum. And then the short squirt up towards the Estoril S's, and this is where you get these different elevation changes like Guillaume was talking about. Just you had it at Grand Cobb, then you've got this dip in the road as you come through the first part of the Estoril chicane. Clip the curb on the right, clip the curb on the left, and then you head towards Chateau D'eau, which is sort of a tight corner that opens out on the exit, and then just get nice and neatly on the power again. And then this used to be a different section here at Magny. It used to be a right-left S, and then a very tight, almost to a complete standstill, I'm sure first gear corner hairpin. They changed it back at around 2003, if I'm correct, to this downhill approach to this right-hand and this quick right-left chicane that takes you back onto the pit straight. And Hugo de Waal completes a lap of Magny Cours that you've ridden on board with him. Across the line he goes. Doesn't improve his time, but he does put in quite a decent effort to maintain his place at the top of the field. So 9 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. And with Hugo de Walde on pole position, I think it might be a good time to possibly do another update for our French-speaking viewers. So Guillaume with Hugo de Walde on pole position, less than 8 minutes to go. Let's see if anyone can catch him as I'll hand over to you to chat to our European viewers.
From that has been willed, and that says, donc voilà, une très belle performance de après quelques petits soucis, parce qu'il ne va bien pour confirmer haut et fort en haut, vous le voyez à l'écran, sur le circuit pour peut-être une livre, le voilà qui sort à la bord de la grande courbe de droite, après le virage d'Estoril des Verts, de ce premier secteur du circuit de Magny, où on devrait voir certainement très bien osé que on l'espère que ces pilotes se seraient posés en qualificative. Mais voilà, le temps, pole position provisoire pour le jeune pilote belge. Il y a quelques instants, près d'une demi-seconde Louis Tour, alors qu'il était arrivé le dernier en piste, tout simplement. Pensait était bien parti pour peut-être s'octroyer de Hugo Lien, campion en puissance et comme le leader de la compétition, il va certainement falloir compter deuxième côté pilote avec lequel il faudra garder la compétition, puisque Maxime a battu tantôt avec Hugo Wild la victoire des premières épreuves rapides depuis l'entame de la terminale. Pour de Wild, occasions Maxime devant le Louis, on disait au-delà des cas, nous avons la dépit. Axel Soyer et dixième position. Il ne reste que quelques minutes des poussières de séance qualificative. C'est ici que tout va se jouer. Tout le monde a compris, tout le monde sort pour le Wild qui s'engage et qui se fait tout. Ça c'est pas de chance pour qui c'était pit lane qui a réeffectué tout un tour avec some bad luck. Wild, another fast lap to be able to improve.
Yeah, thank you, Guillaume. Apologies if Guillaume was breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure if it's one or two connection issues on his end, so apologies for that. I didn't want to be rude and interrupting mid-flow, but hopefully you caught quite a bit of that in terms of his translation for our French viewers. So 5 minutes to go in the session then, and Hugo de Walde still, which is a little bit of a tussle there between Hugo de Walde and one of the No Limit Motorsport cars. And Hugo de Walde then still on provisional pole by nearly 4.5 tenths of a second. Louis Laquiers second fastest, Max Leonard third, Antoine Laquiers is fifth, Pierce Stockton, so fourth, my apologies. Fifth place is Pierce Stockton, then Mervan Hajjuj from Chris Hart, Axel Soyez, Xavier Weil and Robin Donat, and then Jay Shepherd, Eric Céline, Christophe Schinkel, and then Besson and Pierre Guillaume. Jay Shepherd has actually just popped up to 7th, so good effort from Jay in the last few minutes of the session to get himself into 7th quickest. That'll put him on the 4th row of the grid for race number 1. We should mention that the grid for race 2 will be set by the results of race 1, but it will be a reverse grid. So if you finish towards the back, you'll start nearer towards the front for race 1 and vice versa. And therefore, it kind of mimics how it normally is, particularly in the UK Funcup, where the winner of the previous race will start at the back of the grid, because usually the grid in UK Funcup races is drawn by a random draw. The only position that's certain is that whoever won the last race will have to start from the back of the grid. That's the caveat of winning. So you get the points, but you have to fight your way through, trying to even up the playing field a little bit more. But the rest of the grid is set by a random draw to decide who gets pole position, and therefore it adds a little bit of extra spice to the racing and mixes up the field. And you do see some great racing as the cars make their way up and down the field in order to progress and try and make passes. And it makes some very entertaining racing, and you never usually see a dull Funcup race, particularly in the UK, when you get so many great teams and great drivers coming together. And the races might be 3 or 4 hours in real life or longer, but they treat it like a sprint race rather than a 3 or 4 hour endurance race where you've got a team of 2 or 3 cars. In the olden days, when one driver used to go out and be the hair of the field, as Chase Shepherd gets very sideways and just about gathers that up. That was great car control from Jay to hold on to that and keep it in the right direction. But gone are the days now, particularly endurance racing, of having a team of cars and one car going off a second to pace and the other 2 cars sitting back and kind of being the playing the game of hare and tortoise, so to speak. And I imagine, Guillaume, it's very much a similar affair on the continent with Funcup, particularly in France, in the Benelux regions, when you see races in Funcup not necessarily being ones where people sit back and wait for their opportunity. It's very much like in the UK, flat out from start to finish in order to go for victory.
Yeah, especially it looks very of 2 times of almost, the fact that as you see from start to finish, and the start to finish. This this refreshing. That's what we've had in Assen and Dijon. And it's like,
apologies if I'm jumping in for a second. It does appear that again just have 1 or 2 sort of possibly connection issues there, so apologies for that if you're having a bit of trouble making it out. Fingers crossed we can get them sorted before the race starts. But yes, it should help. I did catch just a little bit of what Guillaume was saying there, and yes, it should be an exciting affair, as again Chase Shepherd throwing a lot of speed into the chicane. We're looking here on the screen at Hugo de Valde, who's still on pole position with 45 seconds left to go. Now, also whilst that was happening, I did see Antoine Laquies has moved up to 3rd fastest. He's now gone past Max Leonard in the timing pylon. He's now 3rd fastest with a just over 6/10 off the pole time set by Hugo de Valde. Still the only man that's done a sub 2-minute 2 lap time, which is pretty impressive in itself. Now, look at some of the guys that are out in the mix. Hugo de Valde at the moment is just coming up towards the Estoril chicane, and this will be his last flying lap. He's just getting a tow from Max Leonard, his teammate in front of him. Makes his way through the right and through the left. And the checker flag will be coming out on the session in the next few seconds as the timer ticks down to 3, 2, 1 and to 0. So that means now the checker flag is out. Anyone on a flying lap is allowed to finish it. Anyone crossing the line now will be classed as their final lap, and therefore that will be their session over. So Hugo de Valde is coming up towards the last couple of corners. He did have, I think it was Guillaume in front, who was at the bottom of the times, just in front there having a bit of an off, but up towards the checker flag he'll come to finish the session, and whether he'll improve or not, which he does not. So he stays exactly where he is on pole position. No one else is able to usurp him, it seems, though we've still got a couple more cars circulating, but their sessions are over anyway. That's including both of our Lacquiers siblings, Louis and Antoine. And now we come to the important part of qualifying, which is the end of it going forwards into the race. And we'll give you a rundown very shortly. But I think hopefully we can try Guillaume again, and maybe if he wants to try another update in French to give a rundown of the qualifying results from here at Magny Cours.
Yeah, apologies if you guys are having some of me out, but trying my best here with. But let's try to make things work. Bien, chers amis, la séance qualificative est arrivée à son terme ici sur le circuit de Magny Cours et Hugo de Wilde vient de nous gratifier d'une performance superbe en quelques tours à peine. Il vient de se placer en tête de la hiérarchie d'1 minute 1 et 9 dixièmes, 3 dixièmes de mieux sur Louis Lacaise. Après, c'est toujours en deuxième poche. Louis Lacaise de Serge G, la pole position. Il croit avoir fait le plus dur, effectivement, avant que Hugo de Wilde ne mette tout le monde d'accord. Maxime Linard, au moment où on en parle, qui se place en troisième position. Je pense que j'espère que ce ne sera pas le cas et qu'il pourra nous rejoindre, en tout cas pour s'élancer de la pole position qu'il vient de signer fort belle façon. Mais vous le voyez peut-être aussi de par chez vous. Eh bien, Hugo de Wilde, on espère qu'il s'agit de petit problème de serveur. Et très très vite. En tout cas, belle performance de la part mais ses armes juste derrière. Si quelqu'un des deux courses au point course 1, la grille départ selon l'ordre établi lors des qualifications. Thank you, Scott. We are going to be released tonight, and I'll let you give the green light for this first race of the year, of the night. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all. I think I was just trying to exit back to the pits there, but on my screen, but I seem to have jumped out the server, I think. So I might, for the moment, just commentate on the screen here for a second. And so I possibly jump back in. So we've got a few minutes here, so I'm going to see if we can try and jump back in before we get back going again. And so we're just getting ourselves set before we begin the race. So Hugo de Wilde will be looking for his third victory in as many races, but of course he'll have some very feisty cars from No Limit Motorsport around him. Max Leonard will also be in there to give him a little bit of support as the other team car, and he'll be keen to do what he can. And of course there are 4 No Limit team cars in the field tonight. We've got both of the Lacquier siblings, Louis and Antoine, and also we have Mervan Hajouj and Robin Donat as well. So all 4 of them are going to be keen to put on a good show here as best as possible. But some of the British drivers are a bit further down the order. We've got Piers Stockton, who is up in around about 3rd or 4th position in the mix. We've also got Chris Hart and Jay Shepherd, and they'll be looking to put in a good performance against some of the regular drivers in the field too. So just getting underway. Going from this race, what are you ultimately anticipating here? You possibly think it's going to be quite an interesting situation here, or do you think it's going to be a different?
A good question. One thing on the starting grid. Definitely, we were as soon as Hugo de Wilde just came up, he was going to play for the win once again, and we would need to keep our focus on Hugo once again. But we got a few of the same names that we've seen battling in Dijon and Assen, and this time the guys from another location, the young Loyal, to shine before, shall we say. So I would think that the Laquiers brothers, Louis and they've been really fast in qualifying, and they're here to have fun. Of course, that's what the competition is about. You might have seen his car on Flower Power on the start, the right side row, and main one. He's the favorite, of course, as we have a bit more than 1 minute to go before the race, Scott. But as we said, the No Limit Racing team, Soul, and battle between them, with good once again at the front top mix of the. This is all bets on the table. Fascinating to see, and as we have the race for the first one before this is going to be interesting to see how each driver will be managing his tires, his fuel, and sort of strategy.
So hopefully I should be back now. I just had a quick jump into the. Just quickly reset my Wi-Fi for a second to bear with me on that one. Apologies. See if I can try. Hope we can quickly get back into the server to watch it.
All right. Well, we're ready to go, guys. 1 second. We're off. We're away. Hugo Deville leading us into the front one. Go, Guillaume. Little bit of chaos in there, but the front 7 or 8 cars through the first corner without any deal. Hugo leading off from the Akies brothers there, with Pierre Stockton holding 4th and Jay Shepherd moving up into 5th. It was a good start from Jay.
And here, première des 2 épreuves ici à Magny-Cours, le 3e rendez-vous du championnat européen de Funcup avec Hugo de Wilde, donc 15 de nous suivre ici sur que vous soyez sur qui creuse légèrement l'écart, du moins il tente, alors que vous voyez chacune des Funcup sautiller vraiment sur 2 roues au passage de la chicane juste avant. Et le secteur là-bas du virage numéro 15, le secteur du lycée, voilà. Nous avons d'abord le Pierre Stockton à l'écran en 4e position, le pilote britannique Hugo de Wilde, dans le numéro 50 Flower Power du Belgian Very Club qui mène la danse, les 2 montures du noir vêtu sur le de Wilde after the first lap in front of the Laquiers brother Louis et Antoine Laquiers from No Limit Racing. Good start as well from them both, and in the blue livery on your screen in 4th position, the British driver into the Estoril Under. This is a 1 lap completed, a bit less than 30 minutes to go before the checkered flag of this first race. And we're gonna see if Hugo de Wilde can be defeated, can be competed properly by the opposition. Those of you in the first rounds have seen Ryder Phillips, Maxime Shane, who was with us in Dijon, competing against Hugo. This time around, we have Louis and Antoine Lac. Interesting, with Pierre Stockton just behind, as a quick reminder. So, of course, different kind of pace. I think we might have lost Scott for. I think he ran into a bit of a trouble.
Yeah, Seems that way, Guillaume. Yes, Scott is having some technical issues, so hopefully he'll join us back. But a fantastic start from Hugo de Wilde again. Lacquiers brothers in hot pursuit, but can they put pressure on him? He's eking out that time already. He's just got a... Was he got 7/10 already in the first couple of laps here? But a little mistake there. Had a little bit of a twitch on there, so let's see what happens. Whether the Lacquiers brothers can keep the pressure on. Pierre Stockton, good solid fourth at the moment, and Chris Hart moving his way up. And there was something happened to Jay Shepherd. I didn't quite see it. He was in 5th position, then tumbled down the order to 8th. So some sort of incident coming into, I think, one of the final chicane. So hopefully Jay can find some form there and recover from that. And Max Lydiard just losing another place down into 7th.
Yeah. Here we see the program will leading the pack almost 1 second ahead of Chies. Donc un début de course sur le Chateau D'eau, Wild qui a vite effacé ses petits soucis de serveur et qui eh bien, est occupé à une nouvelle démonstration, en tout cas le début de ce qui pourrait s'apparaître et prendre la forme d'une 3e victoire. On n'en est pas encore là, évidemment, il reste dans cette première des ici, faire la caisse ne l'entendent pas de cette oreille et vont tout mettre en œuvre. Hugo entre de Louis Deloine en de position, 4e place pour Pierre, déjà à 2 secondes 4. Suite, compatriote britannique en 5e position, alors qu'à l'écran, Maxime Linard en 6e position se bat bien avec 7e position, pardon, Maxime Linard devant juste derrière Merwan Adjouj, qui est l'un des représentants français du No Limit Racing. Vous pouvez leur livrer toutes nos points. Très bien. Porte quand un numéro similaire à celui du Cours, on disait Flower côté entre celle du Cours, ces deux montures donc représentantes respectivement du Belgian V à bord ici. Et c'était justement là, Pierre Stockton qui s'est retrouvé à contresens sur la piste et Maxime Linard qui est parvenu sans dire l'obstacle très serré là-bas. Jay Shepherd a rencontré quelques soucis. Pierre Stockton, pardon, qui est retombé en dehors du top 10. Over there between Andrew and I think Jay and Maxime is out just after the chicane. A bit of a mistake around out of the track. What's just happened in the corners? We've lost Pierre Stockton, I think, to run into and the outside of the top 10, and the same happened to Maxime Linard, who lost control of his car. Clearly see if a contact was just a mistake from the driver, but as a result, as fell down a lot of is currently as we speak. 23 minutes to go with on board right now. Say the 7th position as we speak. Jay Shepherd, the Union Jack livery on his car. Maxime Linard in a 9th position.
I think everybody's struggling with the internet there. Guillaume is struggling with connectivity, and Scott has been thrashing his internet back into life, I do believe. So hopefully will be joining us back shortly. So Hugo de Wilde 1.7 seconds clear, and there's been quite a few battles down the field. We just saw Max Leonard making a mistake into the final chicane there, and someone else just taking these vicious curbs, and it's throwing the cars all around the track. And Max ended up, for one reason or another, trying to cut the final chicane there, went over the huge curbs and just spun the car around. So the drivers are going to have to be really careful or wary, pay a little bit more respect to these curbs here, and not cut the track like they've been doing. So there we go. Just back at the front, let's go Hugo de Wild from one race into another, leading this one comfortably after coming in and putting it on pole with a very impressive sub 2 minute lap. The only person to go sub 2 minutes. It was very impressive indeed, as he joined very late due to our server technical issues and another race that he had. That's why we started a little bit late tonight, was to allow him to join, but then had server problems. So apologies to Hugo for that one, but managed to get him to join, and super impressive qualifying and race one so far. First 10 minutes has been dominant from him. Chris Hart has moved up into fourth. Let's take a look at Chris Hart. Oh, and there's a bit of action going on back here. Jay Shepherd defending. Will he make that? There's a fierce battle going on between the three cars there, and Jay Shepherd trying to desperately hold on to fifth place there. Let's stay with that battle. Jay gets his nose in front. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little bit of contact.
Yeah, this is very, very, very tight indeed. With Chris Hart just before in fourth position, and behind we have Ajud. So the No Limit Racing team trying to Jay Shepherd, but is more than willing to keep his maybe. They might want to and between Sean and Mark. Yeah, there was a mistake over there, I think, from my. Yeah, I think
it's fantastic side-by-side stuff. There's an absolute scrap and a half between these three drivers now. They're all trying to find just that extra bit of track that they can take, and Jay just taking the Michael out of the track a little bit too much, went onto the sand, just slowed him down, but then I think Muhad had taken, just got bounced by the curb a little bit as well, so they're just phenomenal bit of dicing going on here, and that's all letting Schinkel catch up from behind here. He's only 1.3 seconds behind, definitely taking some time out of that pack, so could be coming into play.
Yeah, definitely. Très belle bagarre. En tout cas, nous suivons pour l'instant en direct avec moins de 20 minutes jusqu'au drapeau damier. On disait c'est une course sprint. On est passé de l'endurance au sprint plus que jamais. Et Jay Shepherd pour l'instant occupé à défendre vraiment sa position face à Adjud, Merwan Adjud en 6e position. Romy Donat, son coéquipier du No Limit Racing Team, a perdu quelques mètres là-bas dans l'aventure avec un écart qui s'est creusé légèrement, alors que Merwan Adjud va certainement tenter de doubler Jay Shepherd à l'approche de l'épingle d'Adélaïde. Est-ce qu'il va peut-être tenter de prendre l'extérieur? Ça semble très très serré, et Jay Shepherd qui ferme la porte de manière très autoritaire, mais c'est la course. Aucun contact là-bas entre les deux. Jay Shepherd, voilà une sonde support de Merwan Adjudge, le jeune pilote français, dont c'est la deuxième apparition dans le cadre de cette Virtual European Funcup Series. 6e position pour l'instant pour lui, et il va tenter certainement de mener la vie dure à Jay Shepherd, le pilote britannique, qui est juste devant lui à l'approche du virage 180 degrés au cœur du circuit, et peut-être une ouverture qui se créerait pour Merwan Adjudge, et un léger contact là-bas. Jay Shepherd qui doit certainement fulminer derrière son volant et son mais qui n'entend pas de cette oreille et qui conserve sa place pour l'instant. Très très belle bagarre pour l'instant entre ces deux-là, alors que devant Hugo de Wild, imperturbable depuis l'entame des hostilités. 2 secondes dormaient sur Antoine Lacaisse, pardon. En 3e position pour l'instant, on se dirige vers double No Limit Racing. On n'en est pas encore là, évidemment, même si Chris Hart, en 4e position, accuse désormais 8 secondes de retard, ce qui devrait donner un peu plus suffisant pour les frères Matt à laquelle pour viser ce top 3 final. Et pourquoi pas, peut-être aller encore titiller Hugo de Wild. Ici, c'est la bagarre qui nous occupe. Jay Shepherd, Merwan Adjudge en 5e et 6e position dans l'enfilade de la chicane. Et attention, le faute de pilotage de la part de Jay Shepherd, effectivement, alors qu'on passait juste du baquet du pilote britannique, et bien Jay s'est montré un peu trop ambitieux parce qu'il a sorti du virage, il a surmonté le vibreur qui sont un peu plus court, on disait. Et bien voilà qui coûte cher à Jay Shepherd, puisqu'il vient de perdre la 5e position. On profite de Merwan Adjudge, regardez qui pourrait faire de même. Et bien c'est Robin Donat juste derrière en 7e position, et Christophe Schinkel ainsi que Pierre Stockton bien pourrait profiter pour sa 6e position, ce qui pourrait signifier bien le début des mauvaises nouvelles pour le pilote britannique qui ne s'entendait peut-être pas à perdre le contrôle de l'arrière au franchissement de la chicane. Mais voilà, qui pourrait lui les approcher. Élargir cela pourrait lui coûter cher, mais il conserve la 6e place. Romain Donat qui n'est pas parvenu à sauter le bouchon, du moins pas pour l'instant. Mais Christophe Schinkel est juste à sa hauteur et on va certainement avoir un dépassement à l'approche de la chicane d'Estoril. Oui, Jay Shepherd qui tente de ravir la 7e place de Romain Donat, mais qui n'y parvient pas. Ils sont 3 de front à l'approche du 180 degrés. Il y a même contact, je pense. Et Pierre Stockton qui est parvenu à franchir l'écueil et à monter en 7e position. Effectivement, 7e position pour Pierre Stockton. Superbe passe d'armes entre ces trois. Et Romain Donat qui a perdu quelques plumes là-bas. Mais Pierre Stockton lui est passé devant et c'est une situation qui profite on ne peut plus à Jay qui eh bien, prend la poudre d'escampette toujours en 6e position. Très très belle bagarre là-bas. Pierre Stockton à l'extérieur et qui se fait légèrement tamponner d'ailleurs par Christophe Schinkel, par Robin Donat, alors que les deux abordent la ligne droite de retour, plongeant vers le virage du lycée. Et regardez comme ça se bagarre roue dans roue, portière contre portière. C'est ce qu'on aime voir évidemment dans le cadre de ces épreuves Funcup. Et les pilotes l'ont compris, il ne s'agit plus ici d'endurance, mais bel et bien de sprint dans la plus pure expression du terme, puisque dans 15 minutes, eh bien, nous aurons franchi le drapeau à la mi de cette première épreuve et la classification dans le top 8 sera importante puisqu'elle décidera eh bien, de l'ordre de départ pour la deuxième manche et celui qui terminera en 8e position eh bien, s'élancera de la pole position sur la grille inversée.
Yes, thank you, Guillaume. Absolutely amazing racing. Yeah. I think Scott still having technical difficulties, so jump in for a second there.
I think I might be back.
Hello? Oh, Scott is back on. Fantastic. We've just been.
I think what it was, just very, very brief. I think my firewall doesn't like the Chateau Cours connection. So either way, apologies for jumping out like that. That was very unprofessional of me, but technical difficulties I had to press through. So I will very quickly catch up as to where we are then. We've just gone past half the distance. I did catch that fantastic three-way battle which Pierce Stockton was involved in, which he was just about able to hold on to as he sits in 7th place. So we are past the half distance now. Hugo de Waal in the lead by 1.5 seconds or so, with Antoine Lacquier starting to close in. A little wide there from Pierce Stockton as he starts to absorb a little bit of pressure from Max Leonard, Robin Donat and Christophe Schinkel. This is towards the bottom of the top 10 with plenty of battles going on, but you can see that Jay Shepherd is trying to escape up the road now. This is the rear view from Pierce Stockton as they head down towards the Estoril chicane. So two very similarly toned blue cars heading their way through the chicane, but you can tell that it is Max Leonard with the floral decals all over that car. And they head into Chateau D'eau as he closes up under braking. There's a good scrap behind because Christophe Schinkel has just taken, looks like 9th place, and Robin Donat just behind them. So Schinkel up to 9th then, Donat down to 10th. And I wonder if there's anything left that Donat might have to come back in him. But Schinkel looks as though he's got the measure of him so far. Just seeing in front, Leonard's starting to set for 8th position. Looks like the Stockton's coming under real pressure here as they flick through the Lycée chicane and over the curbs. And onto the pit straight once again. These two nose to tail as they continue to battle over the position. Look back again from the rear view, staring at the rear wing of Pierce Stockton, but the man that's really giving him the hustle, the Belgian right there, Max Leonard, as they come into the right-hander. And this very long, almost endless right-hander at Estoril, that means you have to really wait to get on the power. And as soon as you do, then you start to carry the momentum all the way down the back straight and into the Gulf kink. And this is the opportunity that Leonard needs. He's going to have a look at down the outside. I'm sure it gives him a small bump draft to help him along on the approach down towards the hairpin. And he's not going to attack just yet. And as he darts out at the last minute and goes for a move up the inside into the Adelaide hairpin. And I wonder if the pair of them are starting to work together here. And it could be a possibility, Guillaume, that these two are trying to work together a little more in order to try and catch up to Jay Shepherd in front and to make some further progress up the field to pick up a few more points.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because we only have 2 seconds between those two, Jay Shepherd and Pierce Stockton, and this is a battle for 6th position as we speak. So yeah, that might be a good strategy, trying to work together. As we said, this is a shorter race, only 12 minutes to go before the checkered flag will be waved to conclude what is this first race. Another one to go after that. But as we were talking about it, Hugo de Wilde, we thought, maybe naively that having a shorter race would provide maybe more opportunity for the rivals to compete and try to defeat Hugo de Wilde. But once again, the young Belgian has shown some flashes of brilliance ever since he came into this competition. And once again, he's doing what he does best. And there's a change of position, a bit of a contact between them on board. Maximilien was trying to go around the inside of Pierre Stockton. They're going to go, I think side by side all the way down to the Lycée chicane. This is going to be very tight indeed. And Maximilien seems to have the upper hand around the inside of the corner number 15. And there he goes. But Pierre Stockton won't let that happen and won't let him get past into the chicane. Pierre Stockton goes wide onto the left, and goes bang against the wall. So quite a big shunt over there for Pierre Stockton, who's lost big into the battle, and Maximilien just made his way into 7th position.
That was quite a tricky sequence because Maximilien was trying to make that move happen whilst they were also putting a lap on Axel Soyez, who was struggling a little bit, and he's the only driver so far that has gone a lap down to the leader. But Max Leonard has come out on top of that, and I have to commend Pierre Stockton for staying around the outside as long as he did, because he held on to that position for as long as possible. But it was just him trying to skip over the chicane because he realised at the last minute that 2 into 1 at that last chicane doesn't really go. And he unfortunately had to suffer the consequences of bouncing over the sleeping policeman there, and that put him into the wall, and he's now dropped down still to 8th position, but he's only got less than a second's advantage of Robin Donat behind. And Christoph Schinkel has, I think, dropped to 11th actually. He was ahead of Robin Donat, so whatever's happened to Christoph has put him behind Donat again, as well as Xavier Weil. And he's now behind Weil right now, trying to put a move on him for 10th position as they come up towards the Nürburgring chicane. Through the right and through the left, and Weil has to skip across because he couldn't carry the momentum through the apex of the first turn. I'm not sure the stewards are going to look on that too favourably, and tries to get straight back up onto the tail of him as he comes up through the left-hander at 180 by trying to outbrake himself as much as possible. And they make the sprint now towards the Estoril S's, with Schinkel trying to move on. Just whilst we're keeping tabs on that, just touch on the leaders, and it's still Hugo de Wilde who leads the way. And only fractionally faster, but the man that's actually lapping quicker than both of them was Louis Laquies that time by, because he was at least 2/10 quicker on that last lap in 3rd position. So Louis Laquies is 3.3 seconds behind his sibling Antoine, but likewise Antoine is 2.1 behind Hugo de Wilde. So those we're continuing to scrap, but this is one of the main battles we're continuing to focus on as Schinkel lines up a move on Xavier Weil, possibly to get himself into the top 10. Would he dare going up the inside? Well, he thought about it until the last minute and then just slotted in behind the man in P10, and now looking for another opportunity as he rattles over the curbs in his efforts to try and get the position. So 8 3/4 minutes to go. This battle of the Thames is looking pretty intense. Guillaume, if you want to give us an update in French, the broadcast is all yours for a couple of minutes, my friend.
Thank you very much, Scott, indeed. Voilà, chers amis, il reste moins de 10 minutes à couvrir dans cette première épreuve et nous sommes à bord de la machine de Xavier Weil qui, pour l'instant, demeure en 10e position. Très, très grosse bagarre avec juste derrière lui Christoph Schinkel qui va tenter peut-être de lui ravir cette 10e position qu'il convoite tant à la sortie de Estoril. Il va pouvoir en profiter justement en prenant peut-être l'aspiration de cette ligne droite, et ça se cogne d'ailleurs par choc contre par choc à l'approche du freinage de l'épingle d'Adélaïde. Voilà sans doute la meilleure opportunité pour Christoph Schinkel, pourquoi pas de ravir cette 10e position. Il va tenter de prendre l'extérieur sur son compatriote, ça va être très très serré là-bas, et Christoph Schinkel qui passe par l'extérieur, et sans doute pour Xavier Weil, ce n'est que partie remise d'aller peut-être chercher récupérer cette 10e position, dirais-je. Il lui reste pour ça un peu moins de 8 minutes pour repasser devant. Mais il va peut-être mieux éviter le contact dans ce cas-là, puisqu'on sait que dans cette zone très très serrée de l'épingle d'Adélaïde, on a vu quelques contacts se perpétrer depuis l'entame des hostilités. Nous sommes ici sur votre écran, la bataille qui fait rage entre Maxime Linard et Jay Shepherd. Jay Shepherd en 6e position et qui ravit justement la 6e place devant... non, il s'agit effectivement de Jay Shepherd, toutes mes excuses, devant Maxime Linard, le numéro 50 Flower Power, Jay Shepherd, le Britannique, comme vous le voyez sur le trait arrière de sa monture aux couleurs de l'Union Jack, et ils vont être côte à côte, une superbe bagarre à nouveau, cette fois-ci c'est pour une 6e position. Maxime Linard un peu moins peut-être à son aise dans cette première épreuve après son incident du début de course, lui qui se battait pour le podium et la victoire lors des précédentes confrontations de Dijon et Assen, et le voilà très très proprement, qui reprend cette 6e position. Mais Jay Shepherd ne l'entend pas de cette oreille et croise la trajectoire de la chicane pour reprendre la 6e place. Superbe bagarre entre les deux. Elle va certainement nous occuper jusqu'au terme de cette première épreuve, alors qu'il reste moins de 7 minutes. Une première épreuve toujours dominée eh bien, par Hugo de Wilde. Insolent d'aisance, hein, le jeune Belge, depuis le début de cette épreuve, le début de cette compétition virtuelle, puisqu'il occupe 1 seconde 4 d'avance sur Lacaise, le premier des deux frères Lacaise, Antoine devant Louis. Ces deux-là sont séparés par 2 secondes 9 pour l'instant. 20 secondes, c'est l'écart qui sépare Louis Lacaise de Chris Hart, le pilote britannique, en 4e position, devant Merwan Adjout, 5e, Maxime Ménard qu'on avait à l'écran juste derrière en 6e position, Jay Shepherd 7e, Pierre Stockton en 8e position, Robin Donat 9e, devant Christophe Schinkel. Voilà pour votre top 10 provisoire à 6 minutes de terme. Et nous avons à l'écran eh bien, le leader incontesté est incontestable jusqu'ici dans cette épreuve, Hugo de Wilde. Mais derrière lui, eh bien, Antoine Lacaise n'a peut-être pas dit son dernier mot et l'écart diminue, croyez-le ou non. 1 seconde 1, 1 seconde 3 désormais. Il est dépassé 1 seconde 1 dans le 2e secteur. Est-ce que Hugo de Wilde est légèrement en difficulté au niveau de sa charge de carburant, du comportement de ses pneus, puisque 30 minutes à ce rythme effréné, eh bien, ça use de la gomme évidemment. Est-ce que il reste le début d'une petite chance peut-être pour Antoine Lacaise d'aller chercher Hugo de Wilde dans cette première épreuve? Ils sont très très proches tous les deux au passage de la chicane. Il reste 5 minutes, la bataille est lancée pour la première place et certainement nous n'avons pas encore tout vu dans cette première manche. Thank you, Scott.
Not a problem, thank you, Guillaume. So, just over 5 minutes to go then in this first of 2 races tonight here at Magny Cours. We're still watching the battle that's going on for 10th position. That last spot in the top 10 between Xavier Vaal and a rather feisty Christoph Schinkel, who really cut the second half of the chicane there through Estoril and tries to sneak up the inside on the exit as Vaal runs wide on the exit, the corner. And now onto the run towards the Lycée complex. And as you're watching there whilst Guillaume was giving his French update, you could see that Hugo de Waal's lead has been cut down to 1.3, 1.2 seconds. So Antoine Lacaise and his sibling Louis Lacaise has also started to close in. He's only 2.6 seconds back, so the two of them starting to close that gap in, but it might be too little too late as we come into the last 4.5 minutes of this first race of the evening. I should correct myself for a second. Something I said earlier, it's the top 8 that get reversed, my apologies, rather than the full grid that gets reversed. So top 8 from this result, which means that if things would stay as they were, Piers Stockton would be given reverse grid pole position for race number 2, and it'd be Jay Shepherd alongside him, so an all UK driver front row with a plethora of European talents behind them, and plus also their fellow British driver Chris Hart. So Xavier Vaal then managed to pull a small gap here on Christoph Schinkel, not really allowing him to close too much in the slipstream as they hit the brakes and turn into the Adelaide hairpin. This is the closest battle on track, and Schinkel tries to put himself alongside on the exit as he did at Chateau D'eau a few corners ago, but not quite enough to put himself right in the midst of an overtaking opportunity as they head now underneath the bridge and into the Estoril. Essiers and Xavier Vaal's cracked under the pressure, gets very sideways as he comes back onto the track. He's across the grass. Round the outside will go Schinkel. He goes in front across the track and into the side of Christoph Schinkel. Well, that's extraordinary. That was I thought for a second that Schinkel was going to avoid that, but it almost seemed as though that Xavier Vaal was incredibly unfortunate, and they both got back on track at the same time, as if it never happened. That's extraordinary.
What just happened?
Yes, it almost said the accident never happened, and they just carried on. The only difference is that Schinkel's a little bit closer, so the two of them carry on. And now we see again Vaal running wide at the exit of the Estoril corner and straight through into 10th position goes Schinkel. Vaal tries to come back at him, and now the roles are reversed and Schinkel runs wide on the exit. Vaal comes back through, they make contact, and Schinkel gets speared off into the barriers, and that's him back down to what will be at the moment 11th place, but he is quite far ahead of Guillaume in P12, so he should be okay to get going. But unfortunately, Guillaume, he might find himself in a little bit of no man's land now. He's not going to have that much cars challenging behind him, but at the same time, Xavier Vaal has driven off up the road to the tune of about 11 seconds.
My God, that was some hectic battling over there in the just that one lap, and some quite heavy contact between those two. But mon Dieu, voilà une belle bagarre en tout cas très très mouvementée entre ces deux-là que j'avais Vaal. Et juste avec lui, qui a perdu pas mal de plumes dans l'aventure, malheureusement. mais Christophe Schinkel 10 et 11, Christophe Schinkel 10 et 11 pour l'instant. C'est une très très belle bagarre, mais très très solide en tout cas, qui se termine par deux accrochages successifs, effectivement comme dans un ballet, comme si les deux étaient partis à la faute au même endroit et que rien ne s'était passé tellement ils sont revenus sur la piste rapidement. En tout cas, voilà de quoi ne pas perturber la manœuvre et la performance depuis l'entame des hostilités de Hugo de Wilde que vous avez à l'écran. Le jeune pilote belge, une seconde d'avance sur Antoine Laquiez. Louis Laquiez qui semble devoir faire une croix sur ses prétentions de victoire, en tout cas dans cette première épreuve. 3 secondes 5 de retard pour le frère de Antoine. Deuxième position pour lui. Vous les voyez qui passent. Nous sommes à bord de Hugo de Wilde, juste sur l'aileron arrière magnifique de la numéro 50 Flower Power. Et l'écart est encore relativement ténu, hein. Moins d'une seconde désormais entre Hugo de Wilde et Antoine Laquiez, qui le talonne au volant de sa machine No Limit Racing, là-bas à la sortie d'Estoril. Ça va être très très serré dans cette dernière minute de course, juste avant le drapeau damier. Chris Hard, quatrième, nous sommes à bord de Antoine Laquiez, deuxième, on va suivre ça de très très près. Il va tout tenter peut-être dans ce dernier tour, Antoine, d'aller chercher Hugo. Serait-ce raisonnable de tenter le diable vauvert dans ce dernier tour, ou alors d'assurer la deuxième position, sachant que quoi qu'il arrive pour l'un comme pour l'autre, eh bien, avec la règle de la grille inversée, ils partiront depuis la quatrième ligne si rien ne bouge en l'état, et la pole position devrait revenir au pilote britannique Pierce Stockton, pour l'instant en huitième position. Il reste quelques virages à disputer. Hugo de Wilde, Hugo et Antoine Laquiez, une seconde entre les deux, sauf erreur de l'un ou de l'autre. Je pense que le classement devrait the last few seconds of this race, Scott, and a bit more than a second between Hugo de Wilde and Antoine Laquiez, who is going to be trying everything that he has just to snap that victory out of him, but it might actually run out of time.
It may well be. Thanks for that, Guillaume. And it possibly is going to be without his reach at the moment. They come through Estoril for what is the last time. And Antoine is giving it everything he can to close up off the back of Hugo de Wilde here. So credit where credit's due. He has got it to under a second as he closes under brakes into Chateau D'eau for the last time. But it looks as though the former Formula Renault Euro Cup racer and front runner at that way, he's going to hold on to this until the end. But it's never over until they get to the checkered flag. Up towards the Lycée Complex for the last time. It looks as though it's going to be a third win in a row and a perfect 100% record. One car's gone off on the inside, but it's not going to bother them too much. There is a yellow flag there, so it might put him off passing. But up to the checkered flag, it is the perfect record for Hugo de Wilde. He picks up his third win of the season in the virtual Funcup Europe Series here at Magny Cours. He kicks off the evening with a victory in race one. Antoine Laquiez is second, and it's a double Laquiez celebration on the podium because Louis comes home in P3 as well. Chris Hart will pick up fourth, but some 27 seconds back, it seems, down the road. Fifth place will go to Max Leonard. We wait for the rest of the field to make their way through. Here is Chris Hart. He is top of the UK drivers in the field. Flicks his way through Elise chicane and onto the pit straight, and he hasn't got the rest of the field too far behind him because Max Leonard will come back through in what looks to be fifth position. Or is it? No, it is. So it's fifth position for Max Leonard, then sixth for Mervan Hadjuj, and seventh for Jay Shepherd. That was a lapped car on the way I was getting confused by. And then it's Pierce Stockton in eighth. And more importantly, it's important for Pierce Stockton in eighth because he will grab the reverse grid pole position. It's the top 8 from this race result that get reversed to race 2, which means he will start on the front row on pole alongside Jay Shepherd. Then we have Robin Donat and then Xavier Weil come through in 9th and 10th. And then it will be 11th place for Christophe Schinkel after his spin earlier on in the latter stages. It will be Guillaume in 12th place, Besson, Céline and Soyez. And we also had Duclazo looks to have joined the server at towards the end of that race as well in anticipation for race number 2. So for what I saw of it, it's a very close race with plenty of exciting battles, Guillaume, but at the same time, I guess we shouldn't be too surprised by the results in many cases. Hugo de Wilde keeping his 100% record. But you have to say, towards the latter end of that race, Antoine Laquiez was certainly giving him some cause for concern. I wonder, because he'll be starting alongside him now for this second race, back on the fourth row of the grid, there might be an opportunity here, if he's got some pace on him, to maybe get in front and cause some headaches in the opening couple of laps to deny him getting a fourth win in a row.
Yeah, and follow for race. Let's break before for the round 2 of the championship. Sprint race between Lucky and has been tight for most of the race from start, but by lap down, still Twan was giving everything at the end. And if the pace is once again there through the opening lap and the first corners to see how goes to grid was certainly a challenge. The quality of his performance, qualifying, has been dominant in racing, finished since the launching of the championship. We can actually 8th position.
So this should...
yeah. You wanted to say?
I was going to say, I'm sorry. Apologies. You think you were breaking up a little bit more there on stream. I wasn't sure when you'd finished speaking. But yes, so the top 8, as we say, has been reversed for this second race, and that means that we've got a couple of minutes now until we get things underway. And that means that, as we say, it's going to be an all British driver front row. We've got Piers Stockton lining up in the bright blue car. You can see just in the distance there on pole position on the right-hand side. Just left of him is the Wasp performance liveried car of Jay Shepherd. Not only is he an experienced driver in Funcup, but also he's raced such beasts as the mighty TVR Tuscans and the TVR Tuscan Challenge, and that was quite a series that ran from 1989 to 2004, and Jay has plenty of experience driving those cars, so he will certainly have no problem handling the car that's got about a quarter of the power, but still quite as agile and quite as entertaining to drive. Max Leonard will start in third position, the first of the 2 Flower Power cars on the grid. Chris Hart in 4th in the 2-Rent Domino's car, complete with Domino's logo emblazoned. Oh, and that looks to be, I think that is Guillaume, that's having the issue on the grid. Yes, one car appears to be sideways on the grid and not quite in his grid spot quite just yet. That's Christoph Schinkel, who is going to be a bit further down, starting in 11th place on the grid. And I imagine that Vincent, yes, he is. I can see at the back of the grid. Vincent Duclazeau is going to be starting towards the rear, given that he didn't take the start or qualify earlier on in race 1. Which means that he'll be looking to try and see how much progress he can make as he worms his way up through the field as best he can. There you can see on screen there. Oh, we've got someone else at position. That is Louis. Louis Laquiez is in trouble by the looks of things. He's out of position too, so hopefully they'll be able to put himself right before we get racing once again. But in terms of this reverse grid, I mean, are you expecting someone like Hugo Duval to work his way through and possibly get himself up into the lead in the first few laps? Do you think the fact he's got drivers that are pretty quick around him, like the Laquier siblings, and you've got Chris Hart in front, do you think they're going to make it a little bit more tricky for him to make progress, do you think? Or do you think Hugo has enough in the tank to be able to deal with that in the opening couple of laps?
Well, I think he does. He does have enough in the tanks, certainly in terms of pace. He's shown it big time in qualifying and into the first race. But that, as we said, that's another challenge. But I'd like to think that it would not be that easy for him to make his way to the field and battle for first position, as soon as the opening lap. Because, as you said, he has a few fierce competitors surrounding him from all the way from 4th row on the grid. So for the sake of the race, the sake of the competition, I'd like to see Hugo having a hard time making his way through the field, and giving everything that he has to make sure he can finish as high as he hopes to be. But that would not be easy. I think that won't be easy for him. And we've seen the Laquiers brothers really being competitive on their own soil, on their own track, shall we say, as for them being French. But over to you for the start, Scott.
Yes, indeed. Last few seconds until we get the second race of the evening at Magny Cours underway. The red lights come on. It's an all-British front row with Stockton and Shepherd on the front row of the grid. And we are underway in racing. That's one of the most unconventional first couple of start periods I've seen with Louis Laquiers as they head off the grid for the first time. Stockton heads his way into Grand Cours for the first time in the lead. Shepherd in second place, followed by, looks to be that's Max Leonard in third place, who's managed to slot himself in. Chris Hart with a strong start in fourth. Louis Laquiers is fifth from Antoine in sixth. Hajjuge seventh, and then it's Robin Donat in eighth, and Hugo de Wilde is currently in ninth place ahead of Christophe Schinkel. So trying to make their way up the field as best they can on the run through the Golf Kink and towards Adelaide Hairpin for the first time. And you can see now that already Jay Shepherd is trying to line up the bright blue car Pierce Stockton for a move, potentially for the lead into the hairpin under brake. And this is going to be where all the passes are going to be made here in the initial couple of laps. Chris Hart goes for a dive for third position up the inside of Max Leonard and gets it done. Meanwhile, Hugo de Wilde is being assaulted by No Limits Motorsport cars at all sides of him because he's stuck in the sandwich of cars between himself, also with Andre and Louis Laquiers, and there's a few cars I think went to ride towards the back as well, including Hajjuge and Axel Soyers as well. Up through the Nürburgring chicane and into 180 for the first time, and Pierce Stockton continuing to hold the advantage. He's managed to resist the attack from Jay Shepherd, but now Shepherd's got to worry about the cars behind him because he has got a very feisty Chris Hart off the start of this race, all over the back of his rear wing, and likewise you can also see there is pressure from Max Leonard in fourth place as they come up towards Estoril underneath the Vodafone Bridge and into this very fast right-left section for the first time. And Leonard rocking over the curbs as he tries to stay with the cars in front of him. Turns into the right-hander and tries to get the power down as quickly as possible. And now into this little right-left flick. Or at least out of, at least it will be out of Chateau D'eau for the first time. But a relatively clean start for the first few corners, it looks as though, for the moment at least, Guillaume. No issues whatsoever, it seems, though, from most drivers. Though Chris Hart, being ever ambitious, as I say, no issues, diving up the inside and making contact with Jay Shepherd, and round he goes. And unfortunately, from what I've seen for Chris Hart, all due respect to him, he's a bit over ambitious. I saw Axel Soyers was facing the wrong way as well, and it's three abreast for second place now, as we see that's Max Leonard into the track to Antoine Laquiers and Jay Shepherd. Jay Shepherd trying to hold on to second place as Laquiers goes up the inside into Grand Cours. Trying to go past him with him is Max Leonard as they go into the right-hander at Estoril. It's side by side for third place as the Shepherd fights back and gives a little bit of an elbow, a shoulder barge to Antoine Laquiers to head out of Estoril for the second time and on towards the Adelaide hairpin. So I was about to say, Guillaume, it was pretty calm for the first few moments, but it all kicked off towards the end of that first lap. And more importantly, look behind him, Guillaume, in fifth position, Hugo de Wilde with a cracking start and looking to make up places early doors.
Absolutely. Et on est parti donc sur les chapeaux de roue pour cette deuxième épreuve ici à Magny-Cours et Hugo de Wilde à l'instant qui remonte patiemment mais sûrement depuis la 8e position. Il avait perdu un rang lors du premier tour. Le voilà désormais en 5e position, le pilote belge au volant de la numéro 50, Flower Power. Mais ce qui nous intéresse évidemment, c'est la bataille, vous l'avez vu il y a quelques instants, qui fait rage entre Jay Shepherd, Antoine Laquiers et Maxime Minard entre la 2e et la 4e position. Et voilà qui pourrait profiter à Hugo de Wilde qui se rapproche très très fort là-bas et qui va prendre l'avantage sur Maxime Minard. Le duel des précédentes épreuves est relancé. Hugo de Wilde qui prend la corde, la meilleure trajectoire et qui ravit la 4e place à Maxime Minard qui va devoir surveiller dans ses rétroviseurs pour un éventuel retour de Robin Donat, l'un des pilotes du No Limit Racing. Mais donc voici Hugo de Wilde, on disait qu'il n'aura peut-être pas la vie facile pour remonter le peloton. Eh bien, il est occupé à nous contredire le jeune de Wilde, décidément surprenant de rapidité et d'aisance sur le volant de ces VW Funcup. Le voilà déjà en 4e position avec Antoine Laquiers à portée de fusil, juste devant lui en 3e position. Et à qui cela profite-t-il? Eh bien, à nos amis britanniques, puisque non seulement Pierce Stockton au volant de la Funcup que vous avez dans votre coin de l'écran, toute de bleu véhicule, eh bien, est occupé à prendre la poutre escampette, 3 secondes de l'avance sur son compatriote Jay Shepherd, avec l'Union Jack sur les flancs de sa monture. Jay Shepherd qui est à portée là-bas du groupe formé par Laquiers, de Wilde et Maxime Minard. Donc voilà une petite bagarre à 4 qui se profile. Nous sommes à bord de Hugo de Wilde, le pilote belge dans l'enchaînement de la grande courbe et le freinage d'Estoril en dévers. Une véritable plongée, un toboggan à ciel ouvert pour ces pilotes. Jay Shepherd qui est légèrement déporté vers l'extérieur de la trajectoire en entrée de courbe. Et voilà qu'il pourrait profiter non seulement à Laquiers juste derrière lui et de Wilde s'il parvient à prendre l'avantage, prendre le meilleur à la corde de l'épingle d'Adélaïde, un des secteurs du circuit, on disait le plus propice au manœuvre de dépassement. On va suivre ça depuis le marqué d'Hugo de Wilde. Est-ce que Hugo va pouvoir peut-être profiter? Et il y a contact et Jay Shepherd qui malheureusement est propulsé en dehors de la trajectoire de la piste en tête à queue Aïe, aïe, catastrophe pour le pilote britannique et décidément un rebondissement de plus en ce début d'épreuve. Vous voyez Jay Shepherd qui coupe la trajectoire et qui tente de revenir tant bien que mal en piste, voilà, qui va lui faire perdre pas mal de position au pilote britannique. Et à qui cela profite-t-il? Eh bien, Lakiez et Hugo de Wild en pleine bagarre à l'écran dans l'enchaînement de la chicane ici. Superbe manœuvre là-bas. Et Hugo de Wild qui n'attend pas beaucoup plus pour prendre la deuxième position à la corde du 180 degrés. Hugo de Wild en deuxième position, alors qu'il reste un peu moins de 25 minutes de course d'ici le drapeau à damier. La remontée, eh bien, c'est pour maintenant. Et un qui va devoir regarder dans ses rétros, eh bien, c'est Pierre Stockton qui a jusqu'ici 2 secondes 5 d'avance sur Hugo de Wild, complètement déchaîné. Thank you, Scott.
No problem. Thank you, Guillaume, for the French updates. Just keeping an eye on the race. So we're up into the past the first 5-6 minutes. And it was a very eventful few moments, as you saw just there. Jay Shepherd getting caught up in some contact on the run towards the Adelaide hairpin. As a result of that, it now allowed Hugo de Val to pick up not just one, but in the end 2 positions, because he's managed to get through on Antoine Lakiez into 180 after Antoine just ran a little bit wide at the apex and allowed him to get through. So Hugo then already up into P2, but he's really got Antoine Lakiez stuck under his rear wing as they come out of the Lycée chicane and onto the run towards Grand Cours for the 3rd time. So Hugo de Val now tried to close the gap in, which is 2.3 seconds between himself and Pierre Stockton. Lap time-wise, the lap before they just completed, he was in the 2-minute 3s already when everyone else was at 2-minute 4s or low 2-minute 5s. So you can tell that Hugo de Val does not hang around when it turns to getting on the pace of the rest of the field. Case in point, when he only took him 2 laps to get himself on pole position in qualifying and to take it by almost half a second. So they come down the back straight, Lakiez with the toe, and this time here Hugo de Val might get a proper challenge on the run towards the hairpin, or not at least, because Antoine was decided to give him a little bit of a bump draft into the Adelaide hairpin before the braking zone, and that might possibly help the pair of them start to close in as Lakiez is fighting with the throttle as he gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit, just trying to get the power down of these relatively low powered machines. They've only got roughly around about, I think, 160, 170 brake horsepower in these Evo 3 spec machines. Through the Nürburgring chicane and up back towards 180 hairpin. This is where de Val got through a lap ago and not really able to return the favour, it seems, as they turn out of the corner. The gap is under 2 seconds. It's 1.8 seconds now between Stockton and de Val. And de Val knows that if he keeps on battling with Lakiez, it's only going to lose him time to Stockton in front and allow him to pull out more of a lead gap here compared to Max Leonard, who's only 2 seconds behind in 4th position. If you look carefully in Antoine's mirror, you can just see the blue speck there in the mirror. That is Max Leonard closing in 4th position. There he is. You can just see on the right-hand side of his mirror. And Jay Shepherd, after his contact, is still in 5th place, but he's now under threat from Louis Lakiez, who is just over half a second behind him. Rest of the top 10 is Robin Donati in 7th place, Chris Hart in 8th. We've then got Céline in 9th place, and then it's Christoph Schinkel in 10th. Here is that scrap for 5th position between Jay Shepherd in the white car with the Union Jack on the rear corners and the big Wasp Performance logo emblazoned on the bonnet and on the side, and then the all-black No Limits Motorsport car with the yellow wings. That, of course, is Louis Lakiez closing in for a potential top 5 place. So coming up towards 1/3 distance already. And so far, this is one of the closer battles on track. And again, just trying to have a look around the outside. Now, Louis might look for the undercut here as he makes a possible attempt. Looking on the timing, though, and I think maybe either Antoine Lakiez is lining up for a move, potentially, to try and grab 2nd place again, because he was about a 10th or so just behind him, rather than being a couple. And they come back into the hairpin. And still they're closing, but the gap has come down to a second between the top 2. So I think what's happening here is that even though Antoine is right underneath Hugo de Val's rear wing, Guillaume, I think what's happening here clearly is that these two have realised they've got to work together. Two people who aren't working together, just quickly, are Jay Shepherd and Louis Lakiez, because it looks as though Jay Shepherd has been disposed of 5th position, thanks to Louis with a bit of a move there. Now, we didn't see if there was contact or not, but they were both nose to tail when we last saw them, and of course then as they come out of the hairpin, it is Louis in front of Jay Shepherd. But going back to our leaders, I suspect that Antoine's not quite ready just yet to get past Hugo de Val. In fact, if anything, they're both trying to work together to close up onto Pierre Stockton, and so far, Guillaume, it really appears to be working.
Yeah, definitely, with the gap down to a bit more than half a second. As you can see, those two, Hugo and Antoine. Antoine is very close. He might want to again might want to try to get past finally, but that's the smartest thing to do, as you said. And there he goes, right on the inside of Hugo de Wilde. Antoine Laquiez, who might want to go for second position. He knows, he feels, he sees that Pierre Stockton is up for grabs, and there he goes, side by side, down into the corner number 15, and will he just make it up to the end? There he goes, and de Wilde, very smartly actually, crosses the line and goes back into the chicane. Brilliantly by those drivers, and no touching, no contact between those two. So far, so good. But we have a bit less to go and plenty of other things to see. But Igor Wilde, and as you said, as we just talked about a few seconds ago, that might not be the smartest things to do, trying to get past Hugo at this point of the race, knowing that Pierre Stockton is just up there in first position. So, the best option, I would say, to keep working together. Sorry, try to fight Pierre Stockton, and then you guys can fight for victory.
But yeah, he's going for it now. Hugo de Wilde with a dive up the inside. He's managed to pick his moment into the Adelaide hairpin. Stockton tries to get the undercut as Laquiez tries to put the power down. So far, Stockton's held on in front. But you're absolutely right. 2 Funcup cars work better than 1 in the draft, and they certainly have been punching a bigger hole in the air than Stockton has, even with the 2 of them battling over second place. They were still at least 6 or 7 tenths quicker than Stockton, who was in clear air. So that just shows you how much quicker these 2 are at the moment, and Stockton is really holding on as he comes up into 180 corner. De Wilde takes the wide line around the outside, can't quite make it stick, and now he's got under threat from Antoine Laquiez in third position now as he continues to press. So the top 3 are all together, nose to tail on the run towards Estoril under the bridge. De Wilde daring to go down the outside if he can into Estoril, but Stockton holds his ground and forces the Belgian to go the long way around as they come through Estoril. But the momentum that both De Wilde and Laquiez carried through the corner was sensational. Up into the apex at Chateau D'eau, they all clip it as one, and here comes Laquiez up the inside of De Wilde on the exit for second place. Squeezes his way through, but he has got the inside line. He'll be on the right line for the next corner, which is a right-hander at the beginning of Elysee Complex, and he is in front. So Laquiez into second place now, and De Wilde tries to get him back, but he knows he's got his way blocked because he's got Stockton in front. There's contact between Laquiez and De Wilde, but Laquiez holds on in front, and the black car in second place remains in front of the Flower Power machine in third. And also look behind them, because if you talk about capitalising, not getting such a good run there for Hugo de Wilde has only allowed Max Leonard to get involved here. So with coming up to half distance now, Guillaume, with the top 4 cars in contention here for the lead, Stockton still holds on from pole position, but Laquiez is really giving him a headache here as he attempts to try and grab the lead on the exit of Estoril. It's almost certainly to get him on the run to the Adelaide hairpin. Meanwhile, de Wilde is coming under threat from his teammate in 4th position.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic last 70 minutes. For this race is on. Si vous nous rejoignez maintenant, vous avez bien choisi votre moment puisque la bataille pour la victoire est terminée. Nous sommes ici avec les leaders Pierre Stockton, le Britannique, sur la gauche de votre écran dans la monture toute de bleu vêtu. À ses côtés, Antoine Laquiez, le jeune pilote français du No Limit Racing qui va tenter de ravir à nouveau la première place à son adversaire du jour. Et puis nous avons juste en 3e et 4e position, vous avez vu brièvement derrière, eh bien, les 2 Flower Power du Belgian VW Club représentés ici à Magny par Hugo de Wilde et Maxime Minard à l'instant. Hugo nage très, très rapidement, il faut le dire, depuis la 8e jusqu'à la 2e place, a perdu un peu des plumes dans la bagarre face à Pierre Stockton et Antoine Laquiez. Et à qui cela profite-t-il? Eh bien, Maxime Minard, son vieil adversaire des précédentes épreuves, qui reste sur 2 deuxièmes positions consécutives. Il a faim de victoire, Maxime Minard, il a faim de podium, ça se sent. Et voilà une belle opportunité pour lui de peut-être, pourquoi pas, aller chercher cette première position qui le boude de cette virtual Funcup European Series, et ça pourrait bien être l'occasion rêvée pour lui puisque le quatuor donc de nos leaders est encore très très serré. Donc, comme vous pouvez le voir, on a 2 bagarres l'une dans l'autre, et la bagarre pour la victoire qui pourrait bien prendre un nouveau tournant puisque Antoine Laquiez a pris contact entre Antoine Laquiez et Pierre Stockton qui était précipité contre le mur là-bas de la descente juste après le virage du Château d'eau. Gros retournement de situation là-bas. Et Antoine Laquiez qui vient de prendre la première place, ou voilà, qui ne va certainement pas faire plaisir aux commissaires qui scrutent cette épreuve comme nous. Mais Antoine Laquiez, voilà, résultat, Antoine Laquiez est en tête. Pierre Stockton vient de dégringoler dans la hiérarchie. Je regarde où il est pour l'instant. 7e position, il est parvenu à reprendre la piste toutefois, Pierre Stockton, évidemment. Mais voilà, une belle désillusion pour le club britannique qui menait les débats depuis l'entame de cette épreuve, qui résistait bien face à Antoine Laquiez. Y a-t-il eu contact Il y a eu contact en tout cas, mais s'agit-il d'un fait de... On va rester évidemment sur cette interprétation des faits pour l'instant, mais quoi qu'il en soit, Antoine Laquiez est en tête et regardez qui se rapproche derrière lui, Hugo de Wilde et Maxime Minard juste dans sa roue. La bataille à 4 vient de se transformer en bataille, mais ça n'en enlève pas moins tout le suspense qui va nous suivre jusqu'au terme de cette épreuve, avec 15 minutes un peu moins à disputer jusqu'au drapeau à damier. What a turn of events Scott that was. Pierre Stockton out of the race, at least for when it comes for the battle for victory, and we just went from 4 drivers battling to 3 between Laquiez, De Wilde and Maxime Minard, who might have a good shot at the victory after finishing twice on the second step of the podium in Assen and
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that update in French, Guillaume. And it's incredible the fact that Pierre Stockton went from leading the race to contact just exiting Chateau D'eau. That's put him down to 5th position. He's some 17 seconds back behind the next car in front of him, which is Louis Laquiez. And Louis actually isn't too far away from these top 3 as we look at this battle for 7th place going on. This is between Chris Hart and Céline. And Céline tries to go down the outside in the Beta Tools sponsored car in 8th position, tries to take the title line exiting with the 180 hairpin, and the pair of them are starting to close in on a slightly off the pace Jay Shepherd, especially after his little mishap earlier on that put him down the field. Of course, he was passed by Louis Laquiez, and it seems as though he's just been drawn away from at this point in time. Louis up to 4th now as we see Chris Hart rock his way through the Estoril curbs. So there is Louis, there's the top 3 sweeping through the screen. There is Louis Laquiez in 4th place. As we continue to watch this battle now as Hugo de Wilde is into the lead here at Magny Cours. 13.5 minutes just under to go, and Antoine looking very feisty. He was all over the rear wing, sweeping this way and that to have a look into Funcup, but couldn't make it happen. And through the dip into Estoril, they're just waiting and waiting to hit the throttle. Now they start to push through on the exit, start to build the momentum on the run towards the Adelaide hairpin. But again, Antoine will be in the slipstream of the Flower Power car. He's in a bit of a Flower Power sandwich because he's got Max Leonard just watching on in 3rd position. Louis Laquiez, there he is. He's just under 2 seconds behind now, and he's closing in on these top 3, effectively corner by corner. So here comes Antoine Laquiez down the outside line to make the move, and he knows he can get the undercut if he can force De Wilde to go wide on the exit, which he doesn't just about, because he knew that Antoine was there to try and take advantage. De Wilde going right to the inside of the circuit to defend from any kind of a possible move, and the two of them are practically linked together as one 8-wheel Funcup car. Down the outside into the Nürburgring S's. And I think Antoine would have been very foolish to try and get through on the outside line, because De Wilde was really going to force the issue and make sure he wasn't going to give him any room. He takes to the inside line into 180 to get the undercut on the sprint towards the Estoril S's. Little wiggle of oversteer there from De Wilde. That might just give Antoine the incentive he needs to make a move, and he sweeps to the outside, looking one way then the other. He's trying to distract the former Formula Renault Euro Cup racer and trying to make him force him into a mistake as they come into the Estoril S's now. With just under 12 minutes to go, they're up on 2 wheels there for Antoine as he looks to the outside again into Chateau D'eau. A great battle for the lead here, but De Wilde knows he has to cover himself on the exit, and he doesn't quite do it. Now he's going to be under threat because the next corner for the braking zone is going to be a right-hander, and just as it happened before a few laps ago, Antoine Laquiez is in a prime position here to steal back the lead. They're side by side in the sprint down towards Lycée. They almost touch doors, under brakes into the right-hander, and Laquiez has his nose in front. He's through back again into the lead. But De Wilde will try and get it back into the chicane if he can. He did this a lap ago when he tried to get the undercut, but this time he can't make it happen. And Leonard's now in the mix as well. Leonard wants to pick up 2nd place. He's going side by side with his teammate. Louis Laquiez is in the mix as well. It's 4 of them for the lead now, with Antoine Laquiez holding on with De Wilde in 2nd, Leonard 3rd and Laquiez 4th. It's an incredible battle at the front, and if we thought this battle couldn't get any more intense, Guillaume, we just got proven wrong. This battle, if it was at 10 before, just got turned all the way up to 11.
Absolument, superbe bagarre avec un peu plus de 11 minutes désormais jusqu'au drapeau à damier. Superbe bagarre, nous sommes ici à bord. Nous étions à bord du meneur de ce groupe de 4, Antoine Laquiez, qui vient de ravir la première place et de se maintenir devant. Mais pour combien de temps encore face à Hugo de Wilde, qui n'a pas dit son dernier mot, alors que nous sommes entrés progressivement dans le dernier tiers de cette épreuve de 30 minutes, seconde manche de la soirée. Et Hugo de Wilde qui plonge à la corde de l'épingle d'Adélaïde et qui passe, semble-t-il. Est-ce qu'il va pouvoir fermer la porte suffisamment pour empêcher Antoine Laquiez de croiser la trajectoire? Non, puisque Laquiez a vu l'ouverture, a écrasé la pédale d'accélérateur pour tenter de reprendre son duel, son côte à côte à l'approche de la chicane du Nürburgring. Une chicane qui passe relativement rapide, disons plus un S. Et voilà Laquiez qui reprend la première place au détriment d'Hugo de Wilde. Mais regardez derrière comme ça se resserre D'eau qui va tenter de prendre peut-être l'intérieur du 180 degrés, mais très très compliqué de pouvoir ne fût-ce que s'infiltrer dans ce virage. Mais je crois qu'Antoine Lacaze est mal ressorti, en tout cas moins bien que Hugo de qui reprend la tête ou qui tente avec Maxime Linard qui va peut-être s'infiltrer dans un trou de souris là-bas, miraculeusement ouvert. Il n'en est rien pour l'instant. Et regardez derrière, nous avons l'autre Lacaze avec la 4e place, juste derrière de Louis Lacaze, les deux représentants du No Limit Racing qui entourent les deux représentants Flower Power du Belgian Very Club, Antoine Lacaze, Hugo de Wilde, Maxime Minard et Louis Lacaze. Une bataille à 4 royale, véritablement, pour les 10 dernières minutes de cette épreuve à Magny Cours. Superbe passe d'armes en tout cas, jusqu'ici très très sportive. Encore aucun coup de volant un peu agressif. Et Hugo de Wilde qui reprend l'avantage juste avant la chicane et qui va peut-être tenter de rester devant jusqu'au terme de ce tour. Et attention, il y a contact malheureusement. Maxime Minard qui était la principale victime de ce léger tassement au franchissement de la chicane, et Linard qui vient de perdre gros puisqu'il retombe en 4e position, et Hugo de Wilde qui en profitait bien pour creuser l'écart, 2 secondes désormais d'avance sur les duos Lacaze du No Limit Racing. Linard qui va devoir reprendre à zéro et tenter de creuser l'écart, de réduire l'écart qui vient de se creuser face à Hugo de Wilde. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure how you kept your cool that much in that sequence of events, because that was an incredible melee between the three cars. And incredibly, this is now what occurred there, of course, for those who were watching on, of course, is that Max Leonard just about almost lost it, got very sideways over the last chicane when it was Hugo de Val getting up the inside to make the move for the lead. He tried to follow him through for second place. There was a little bit of contact, which saw everyone scatter across the final chicane, and it's now left Hugo de Val with a almost 2-second lead now, with just over 8 minutes to go. The two Lacaze siblings are now second and third. Antoine ahead of Louis, and then 4th place now for Max Leonard. Pierce Stockton still back in 5th position, some 16 seconds away from the scrap for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. It's Chris Hart who's just passed Jay Shepherd for 7th place. Celine is 8th, and then followed by Donat Schinkel, and then Axel Soyez. Vincent Duclazeau, who started towards the back of the field, is up into 12th place. Then Xavier Weil, Guillaume Besson and Hadjuj, who unfortunately seems to have got caught up in the early laps and is not in the race anymore, and in fact is in the pit lane. So unfortunately Hadjuj has had quite a tough evening tonight, getting used to being in this virtual Funcup Europe series. So the two Lacaze siblings, Antoine ahead of Louis, and now they're going to go into combat here, or they start to continue working together. I think at the moment it's the latter. So Antoine has the track position as they come out of the first part of the Lycée complex through the right-left chicane, and Leonard's back on their tail again as they come out of the right-left and onto the pit straight once more. There's an opportunity here that if Leonard can play his cards right, he could make it a Flower Power 1-2 if he can pick off both the Lacaze siblings in quick succession with 7 minutes to go. Out through Grand Cours and into Estoril, and Louis start closing now on Antoine as they come into the right-hander of Estoril, this long arcing right-hander that takes them all the way onto the back straight, and Louis decides he's going to use the teamwork approach rather than attack. This gives a small little bump drive, but he's got to be careful because look in the mirrors. Max Leonard is looming large. Big blue spot in the mirror. Is Max trying to possibly close in to make a move here? And there just in front, you can see Hugo de Val with clear track in front trying to escape up the road. He has found another 4/10 on this lap. So the gap is 2.3, 2.4 seconds between first and second place as we come towards the last stage of this second half-hour race, this third round of the virtual.
And it seems that we might have lost Scott for a bit, hopefully not. While you try to get back to us, Scott, we are on board here with Louis Lacaze against his brother. And if the Lacaze family is watching right now, I'm pretty sure that no one's breathing watching the battle between the two brothers. Antoine in front of Louis at the moment, and this is the fight for second position as we speak. Superbe bagarre en tout cas dans ces dernières minutes d'épreuve ici à Magny Cours. Nous sommes à bord de Louis Lacaze qui va prendre l'avantage sur son frère, et voilà qui est fait au virage du Château D'eau. Superbe manœuvre, c'était très très propre, très très léché de la part de Louis qui vient de ravir la deuxième place à son frère Antoine. Deuxième et troisième position pour les représentants du No Limit Racing. Maxime Linard en quatrième place qui n'est pas parvenu, du moins il est parvenu à légèrement se rapprocher mais n'est pas parvenu à ravir une position ou deux dans la bagarre. Il reste 5 minutes des poussières pour y parvenir. Le pilote belge ingénieur du team M3M dans la vraie vie et qui est bien sûr donne à cœur joie pour se battre depuis l'entame du championnat pour la victoire. 2 deuxièmes places consécutives pour Maxime. Pas mal de frustration aussi. Et peut-être un podium qui tend encore les bras ici dans la conclusion de cette épreuve. Un qui n'a aucun souci à se faire pour l'instant, c'est bien Hugo de Wilde. 2 secondes 4 d'avance sur le premier des frères Laquiez. Louis devant Antoine, deuxième et troisième position. Ce sont les pilotes qui passent devant vous à trembler pour l'instant. Quatrième place pour Maxime Lénard, puis dans le reste, brièvement, nous avons Pierre Stockton, qui n'a pas été épargné par les mésaventures dans cette seconde épreuve de Magny Cours, devant Chris Hart, son compatriote britannique, Donat en 7e position, devant Jay Shepard, 8e. Nous avons Eric Chinel en 9e position, devant Christophe Schinkel, 10e. Axel Soyer. Nous avons Vincent Ducluseau, qui nous a rejoint donc avec le team M3M pour cette deuxième épreuve, qui navigue pour l'instant en 12e position, devant Xavier Well. Nous avons ensuite Pierre-André Guillaume, Besson et Marwan Adjoud, qui ferme la marche et qui est en 16e et dernière position, bien parce qu'il est dans la pit lane, sans doute avec un abandon consommé depuis. On va se reconcentrer sur la tête de la course avec la bataille qui fait rage là-bas, vous le voyez, avec Jay Shepard qui plonge à la corde de Nat pour la 7e place, un peu plus loin dans le fade. Très très bien manœuvre de la part de Shepard qui passe Nat et la caisse. On gare évidemment à ne se garder de tout contact un peu trop agressif dans cette fin d'épreuve. Attention, Jay Shepard qui part à la foule, semble-t-il, dans le 180 degrés avec superbe passe d'armes de la part de Donat qui en profite pour ravir la position qu'il venait de perdre face au pilote britannique. Jay Shepard et Donat côte à côte avec juste derrière Eric Schelling qui pourrait peut-être en profiter pour repasser devant. Il n'en est rien. Mais attention, gare en contact et Jay Shepard qui malheureusement doit franchir la chicane du Nürburgring, ici du secteur du lycée. Et un nouveau contact avec Shepard qui est précipité à l'extérieur de la piste, malheureusement. Aïe aïe aïe. Également des ennuis pour Eric. Voilà, dans les derniers instants, il faut bien être concentré jusqu'au terme de cette épreuve. Une course n'est jamais terminée avant l'abaissement du drapeau à l'année et certains viennent d'en faire les frais, malheureusement. Shepard qui rétrograde et Eric Stellin, désormais 11e à 2 minutes et 20 secondes, plus ou moins, du terme de cette épreuve. Scott, have we found you yet?
Yes, hopefully so. Again, apologies.
You're back.
Wi-Fi doesn't want to play balls tonight, sadly, so I have to quickly reset it again. So, but thankfully we haven't missed the end of the race, and looks as though everything has stayed roughly the same in terms of where everyone is. The only change I can see is that, second, third, and fourth still look pretty close together at the moment. Hugo de Val still has the advantage of 2.4 seconds over the Laquiez double act of Louis and then Antoine. So it looks like Louis and Antoine, whilst I had to quickly have switched places since that little action in the last couple of minutes. Louis up into second place from Antoine, and then Max Leonard in fourth. They've still got quite an advantage over fifth place Pierce Stockton, who was leading previously at one point. And we're now going to come on to the last lap of the race. There is Pierce Stockton in P5, and he held on for as long as he could, but unfortunately just that small little bit of a mishap on the exit of the Chateau D'eau corner caught him out. There's Chris Hart, who went spinning in the first couple of laps and managed to pick his way back up into a top 6 position. There's Robin Donat, who's got past Jay Shepard, who's been a little bit wayward tonight, unfortunately. He usually is quite decent and is someone who can consistently run up and near the top 5, but it does seem as though he struggled a little bit here at Magny Cours. 9th place for Axel Soyez, and then it'll be 10th for Christophe Schinkel, as the leaders will be coming up to the start, if not already have started the final lap, with about 42 seconds to go on the clock on my screen. And here is the leader, Hugo de Val. He looks at the moment as if possibly the lead is settled, but second, third and fourth are starting to spread out a bit more now. So it could be potentially, Guillaume, that as we come into this last lap, at the moment it seems as though everything is pretty calm until the end now, but as we know in this Funcup race, as we've seen, it doesn't take much for it to kick off again, particularly when we're in the final stages of this race, with second and the third and fourth all running this close in the bid for podium places.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fascinating to follow once again. You know, we've had a lot to talk about, a lot to follow here in Manicourt, as it has been the case since the start of the competition, thanks to Riley Phillips. And, you know, big thank you to all the drivers who've been part of this event and who've given us such a great show. And this formula of having two sprint races of 30 minutes is interesting. We'll see if it happens again in the future. And we'll be, you know, it will be interesting to hear a bit more about the drivers' feedback. But suddenly, the racing is fantastic once again, and we might head up once again with another victory for Hugo de Wilde. That will be his fourth consecutive win out of 3 rounds, which is really, really impressive, of course. And that's going to mean as well a lot of new points added to his tally in the overall standings for Hugo de Wilde, who only has just a few corners left before crossing the finish line. And salute the checkered flag. Over to you, Scott, for the last few seconds of this race, and another for Hugo de Wilde. Et voilà qui franchit la ligne d'arrivée. Victoire pour le jeune pilote belge, une nouvelle victoire pour le représentant VW Club. Superbe succès de la part d'Hugo. 2 courses sprint, 2 victoires pour le pilote originaire de Zaventem, qui va pour un petit donut. Magnifique démonstration là-bas de la part d'Hugo, qui célèbre de bien belle manière son succès. Et quel succès de la part de Wilde, qui est arrivé, qui a vaincu Veni Vidi Vici, comme on dit en latin, et un nouveau succès pour celui qui mène le championnat de bien belle manière, l'entame des hostilités. 3 courses, 3 victoires, même une 4e considérant ces 2 courses sprint. Un succès incontesté pour Hugo de Wilde, qui offre donc une nouvelle victoire aux couleurs du M3M et surtout à cette magnifique livrée Flower Power de la VW Club. Très belle performance également de la part des frères Laquiez, Louis et Antoine, qui terminent sur la 2e et 3e marche du podium, et que nous avons un petit attaque là-bas. Christophe Schinkel, non, je ne pense pas, juste derrière lui. C'était Eric Stelling, je pense, qui est parti à la faute. Le voilà qui franchit la ligne d'arrivée, tant bien que mal Eric, en 11e position. Donc, on le disait, double podium pour les frères Laquiez devant Maxime Linard, donc qui n'aura pas, qui ne goûtera pas aux joies du champagne en quelque sorte. Au terme de cette épreuve de Manicourt, 5e position pour Pierre Stockton devant son compatriote britannique Chris Hart. Nous avons ensuite Robin Donat, 7e devant Jay Shepherd en 8e position. Axel Soyer a franchi le drapeau damier en 9e position. Et puis 10e place pour Christophe Schinkel devant Eric Stelling, Xavier Well, Vincent Ducluseau, Pierre-André Guillaume. Puis ensuite Mathis Besson, le nouveau venu parmi les effectifs du team M3M Motorsport, et Marwan Adjouch, qui malheureusement n'aura pas vu le terme de cette épreuve de Manicourt. Quoi qu'il en soit, on retiendra cette superbe victoire à nouveau de la part d'Hugo, qui continue d'imprimer sa marque sur cette première édition 2020 de la Virtual Funcup European Series. Je crois que nous avons malheureusement peut-être perdu Scott en cours de chemin. Scott, are you back with us? Voilà, on va attendre quelques instants. Toutes nos excuses également pour ces petits soucis de connexion. I think that we have found you back, Scott. Are you back with us?
I can see him in the Discord channel, but I can't hear him at the moment.
Voilà, chers amis, je pense
oh no,
que
he's gone.
Yes, Andrew, go ahead.
Hi. And back, Scott is jumping in and out. Hello, Scott.
Hello. Yes. Again, apologies. I hate my Wi-Fi right now. So I did catch the end of the race when we saw the finish. So yes. Again, thank you, Guillaume, for the guidance in French there for the end of the race. So confirmation then that Hugo de Wilde makes it a clean sweep so far and keeps up his 100% record by winning all 4 races. He wins the double here at Magny tonight, and of course he was followed home very closely in a very energetic second race, and thank goodness it was a reverse good race, because we had such great battling up and down the order with the 2 Laquier siblings, and it was, I believe it was Louis ahead of Antoine, but feel free to correct me if I get that wrong, and Max Leonard was in the mix as well, and of course we had some battling with also the likes of Jay Shepherd in there, Chris Hart was in there too, and a couple of others. Some fascinating racing all night, but ultimately I think the biggest takeaway is, Guillaume, no one can stop Hugo de Wilde, even when you put him back at 8th position on the grid and you give him 10, you give him 10-15 minutes in the session after in qualifying to try and set a pole position lap. He does it in 2 flying laps. and then even if you put him back at 8th on the grid, he still finds a way to win. There is something about this guy that still seems to be able to work magic in one of these virtual Funcup cars, and he's done it again tonight. And at the moment, the question's got to be, can anyone truly stop him and slow him down?
Let's jump into the team and ask Hugo, because I think he's there. So if we just jump down to Team M3M and then let's have a chat.
Who can stop Hugo? I think still with us.
Yes, I'm there.
Good evening, Hugo. Congratulations once again, and thank you for such a great piece of racing once again. Maybe first answer from you for English-speaking viewers. So not so much of an endurance performance. How did you approach this new format? And it seems to have worked out well for you once again.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. It was once again a really funny night. I prefer this format with 2 races. It's a lot more enjoyable. The first race was quite good. The quali went well. I had some issues with the server to come in, and then the pace was good, was really strong. Race 1, I was under the pressure of the brothers behind me, which were really quick. So basically race 1 was just all about keeping the gap to them and trying to do as less mistake as possible to stay at the front. But no, race 2 was really good. I really enjoyed to start P8 and just fighting with the others. It was a really good race, a lot of fun, a lot of battles. But at the end I managed to do a small gap when they fought behind me. But no, really happy once again, and really good races.
Yeah, great stuff. Scott, I don't know if you want to once again ask a question to Hugo while we have him with us. I think we've lost Scott once again. Apologies, everyone, once again for the little Wi-Fi and Internet connections. Hugo, peut-être un petit mot en français pour ceux qui nous écoutent encore. À nouveau, une belle performance, évidemment. Et tu as vraiment imprimé ta marque sur la compétition depuis le début, avec un format un peu différent, mais malgré tout, la maîtrise était là. Et malgré les petits soucis de serveur, tu étais vraiment directement dans ton élément. Hein.
Ouais, donc bonsoir à tous. C'est sûr que c'était encore une fois une super cool soirée. Comme je l'ai dit en anglais, j'ai eu quelques soucis pour me connecter, mais ensuite ça a été 2 courses très cool. Beaucoup de fun. La course 1, c'était surtout garder le gap avec les frères la Chiez, si je prononce bien, qui étaient derrière moi, qui étaient très rapide. Ils me mettaient beaucoup de pression, donc j'essaie de faire le moins d'erreurs possible pour essayer de garder cette marge, cet écart. Et la course 2, j'ai vraiment bien aimé ce format de 2 courses avec une grille inversée. C'était vraiment cool de faire une grille inversée, de se battre avec les autres, de faire une remontée. On a eu vraiment quelques belles bagarres avec les 2 frères et Max et aussi Pierce. Donc non, super funny et super cool. Super bonne course, encore une fois.
Alors, j'imagine qu'avec un format plus court, l'approche était un peu différente en termes de gestion d'épreuves ou tu étais, par rapport à, on va dire, un effort un peu plus long, sur 1 heure, etc., tu étais moins en mode gestion, plus en mode attaque, on a senti ou,
Pour être honnête, il n'y a pas vraiment de grande différence. C'est des courses, que ça soit 30 minutes ou 1 heure, c'est du sprint, c'est tout le temps essayer d'être le plus rapide possible. Donc pour moi, j'ai préféré le format parce qu'1 heure, c'est long quand même. Mais non, sinon, dans la voiture, c'est essayer de tout le temps être le plus vite possible, que ça soit 30 minutes ou 1 heure, ça change pas grand-chose.
D'accord, tout à fait. Ben voilà, et ce sera à méditer en tout cas pour les prochaines épreuves et peut-être garder ce format qui semble en tout cas bien fonctionner. Avant qu'on ne vous laisse, un petit mot peut-être sur bien le début de saison qui approche, ta préparation actuellement, toujours très actif sur les réseaux sociaux, un petit peu en attendant la véritable reprise. Est-ce que tu peux nous en dire un peu plus là-dessus, où tu en es dans ton programme, etc., en attendant de revenir sur le circuit?
Oui, exactement. La saison va bientôt reprendre. Dans 3 semaines, même pas, je serai de retour dans la voiture à Monza. Donc on a 2 courses à huis clos en Italie. Donc la première le 10-11 juillet et puis 2 semaines après à Imola. Donc non, c'est vraiment cool. Je fais mes dernières préparations, beaucoup de sport et voilà, on met tout en place avec mon équipe pour arriver le plus près possible parce que ça va être bizarre de retourner dans la voiture après autant de temps. Donc on essaye de mettre toutes les armes de notre côté pour arriver là-bas le mieux préparé et commencer bien la saison.
Magnifique, super. Un grand merci en tout cas pour ces dernières nouvelles. bravo encore, félicitations.
Merci.
Et on espère, si tu es disponible dans les prochaines semaines, on espère encore t'avoir avec nous pour les prochaines épreuves, même si les calendriers vont devenir évidemment très très serrés au fur et à mesure qu'on avance.
C'est clair.
Merci beaucoup Hugo. Et
Merci à toi.
une bonne soirée, une bonne nuit et à très vite.
À vous aussi.
Merci. Thank you, Hugo de Wilde. A few words about the latest updates regarding the motorsport season about to resume in 3 weeks time. Hugo will be back in the car for 2 races without any spectator, unfortunately, in Monza in Italy for the start of the Formula Renault Euro Cup season. This will be Hugo's second season in the competition, and we wish him all the best, as well as all the other competitors about to go back on track. I don't know if we have Scott. Are you back with us?
Yes, indeed, I should be. Yes. Again, I hate my internet. Yes. Anyway, fantastic evening's racing. 2 brilliant events here at Magny Cours, and it seems that the sprint format seems to have gone down very well indeed. So hopefully we'll be able to do more going forwards. Just before we sign off, the next rounds you can expect to see the European Funcup taking place. It's set to be at. If I get my screen in front of me in a second, I'll be able to tell you where it is. Someone's jump in and tell me. No. So I think it should be. I believe is it Lebanon that's coming up next? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lebanon.
Excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. So we stay in France. We head to Lebanon for the next rounds. But I guess the main theme, of course, once again, as we say, is Hugo de Wilde has the measure of the championship so far. 4 wins out of 4. The biggest thing and biggest question going to Lebanon is he going to make it a 5th or even a 6th if we run a double format, or is anyone going to be able to stop him? Guillaume, any final thoughts?
No, it has been fantastic. Thank you again, Scott, Andrew, and Riley Phillips, putting everything together. Apologies once again if we have encountered a few technical difficulties. Sometimes everybody's working very hard in the background to make everything work as good as we can. Sometimes those things happened, and we hope that everybody had a fun night as much as we've had the pleasure to cover and commentate this race for you. Brilliant performance from Hugo, and brilliant show put together by everybody, and we can wait to be already in Lebanon in 2 weeks time and for the rest of the championship, and to get back on track very, very soon. It's been a pleasure, Scott, and I hope you had as much fun as I did commentating once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And likewise, and again, thank you to your efforts as well, Guillaume, of course, in your native French. Thank you for keeping our French viewers and listeners informed. Thanks again, of course, to Ryan Andrew Phillips for putting everything all together. And of course, to all the guys at M3M and everyone involved, of course, in putting this all through behind the scenes. And thank you for watching as well. And be sure to catch it in a few weeks' time, as we say. Next rounds of the Virtual European Cup will be live. But if you fancy watching how the Brits go Funcup racing, I believe the next round should be within the next couple of weeks. Am I right, gents? Next weekend or one weekend after that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
absolutely. Next weekend, Brands Hatch should be a corker.
Brilliant. Brands Hatches and Funcup cars, always a fantastic combination. Catch it next week on this Twitch channel. But from all of us here, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time for more incredible virtual.
May I say something more?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks a lot for your commentaries, Guillaume and Scott, and thank you for being with us, because you help a lot to make understand everyone who is watching it. Thank you and have a good night, and thanks a lot again from M3M.
Voilà, merci beaucoup Jean-Luc Dubois. Les derniers mots de la part du patron de M3M, et très très belle représentation de course en course, très beau soutien, merci beaucoup et une très bonne nuit et à très très vite sur circuit.